Charlotte proved rough and tumble for the entirety of North American Racing League, so it's time to put things back in the hands of the drivers. Located in rural Alton, Virginia, VIR encapsulates everything there is to love about an old-fashioned racing circuit. How then can AM and pro drivers alike take advantage of a true driver's course to better their championship chances? Keep watching to find out. Hi, and welcome to PitStopTV for North American Racing League GT3 round number 7 tonight at the virtual Virginia International Raceway. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV with JP Costa alongside. I love everything about this place, JP. The flowing, backroad nature, the punishing track limits, the wide open space around the track, the high speeds, the almost old-fashioned nature around VIR. It's all in the making of one of, if not the best racing course, at least in America.
Absolutely. It's a driver's track, isn't it? It's just so much fun to drive around here. You know, in any car, you can drive a Miata here and you have a blast. You can drive GT3 cars and you're going to have a blast. It's such an amazing racetrack. I mean, it looks fantastic. It's absolutely unforgiving. It drives beautifully. I mean, it's just a perfect track. I love this track. I have very fond memories of it. And, well, we're going to see what kind of action we get from two races with the GT3 cars tonight.
Yeah, of course, we've got our 40 minutes of amateur racing on deck first up, and then we have the 50-minute Pro-Am race. Let's go ahead and get right down trackside and get right into this thing, JP. I'm very much looking forward to the way this race goes. I'm very much looking forward to the strategies here. Again, the level of attrition, I think, today is going to be second to none. We're going to see a lot of these guys make mistakes, if not most of, you know, maybe even the entire field make mistakes here throughout the course of the day, and it's just going to be fun to watch these guys hang on. Once again, welcome to the virtual Virginia International Raceway, located in the virtual Alton, Virginia. It's a back road place. You've got to take back roads to get here. If you're coming from where I'm at, just north of Charlotte, you basically head through Winston-Salem and Greensboro, North Carolina, then up across state lines into Danville, Virginia, and then you have to go down, not quite a back road, but a highway, a country highway, then take a right into a small town, go back into North Carolina, then go back into Virginia, and then you get onto the back road that you find Virginia International Raceway on. This place is a country racing hotspot, which is so weird to think about. It's really odd, but it is one of the best, most high-class racing venues. If you don't want just an old-fashioned racing course, it's so good. And you can see the track map, I think, fits that, JP. It is an old country road looking at it. It honestly looks like if you were to map out a few country roads around your town and just go racing on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like around here the bumps would be pretty noticeable as well, but it's just such a fun course, Andrew. And as you mentioned, it looks like a back road. It's as tight as a back road, I would say.
Yes.
Barely fitting two cars, so it's going to be lots of fun to see cars. Obviously, you know, the lap starts in the horseshoe, turns 1 and 2. Then you head to NASCAR bend, the left hook turns 4, 5, and 5A. Then we head to the lower S's, the upper S's, those, you know, S's. So much fun, Andrew. We head into South Bend, a really quick corner, and then we head, I guess, to one of the most iconic corners in the racing world, Oak Tree.
Yeah, Oak Tree is just a fantastic corner. I'm so glad that iRacing has preserved the Oak Tree that you can see in the background. The Oak Tree is still in, technically turns 11 and 12, but it's just all Oak Tree, and there's even Oak Tree Tavern back behind the S's, actually, in the kind of country there. That is absolutely the best place I've ever eaten in my life. Oak Tree Tavern, located at VIR, the best dinner I've ever had. And I mean, we're excluding Mama's Cooking, because Mama's Cooking is a whole different story, but as far as going to a restaurant and getting a meal, Oak Tree Tavern, top of the list so far. Maybe that changes one day, but so far, not the case. That gets you down the back straight, though, right past South Paddock, which is out of Oak Tree, and heading up and over a couple of the crests to Roller Coaster. It's a whole complex there, JP. It really is turns 14 all the way almost into 16, barely through turn 15. It's named Roller Coaster because, well, it's a bit like a roller coaster. You go up, down, left, right, all kinds of in between before you get down to Hog Pen to finish up the lap, and you come back around the start-finish line straight. It's just such a difficult, such a fun, such a rewarding track. It's going to be a lot of fun today. Let's talk about our amateur point standings first. Rob Rodriguez Jr. leading things by 20 over Diego Ana. There you can see Ilya Speaker in third, Brent King caught fourth, Brian Long fifth, and Brian Long now is with the Wrong Stuff, I believe. I believe he is now with that team. No longer sporting the Sim Racing for Simpletons colors. So interesting note there for Brian, who is working his way up in this series. David Hicks, Sonny Brown, Leon Clover, Zachariah Rosar, they're all only 2 points apart, and Joshua Benjamin completes that top 10.
And it's very close amongst them, Andrew. Obviously, Rob has quite a good gap between him and Diego has a good gap between him and Ilya. So it's a really tight battle. Then we had to 11th place, then Will Coffey just 2 points behind, then Stevenson just 4 points behind. And then look at that. Stevenson to Chris Winstone to Nicholas Kais, only 2 points separating them. Another 3 to Armando Bejaran, another 5 to Kroom. Then we have a tie for 18th place between Scott Angelo and Kerry Corocan, and then only 2 points to Adolfo Perez. So it's also close to this championship. The top 20 are very close to each other. I mean, the positions can really change, and I expect them to change after tonight's race, Andrew.
And this is the schedule as we came into this season looking at things. We've gone through Road Atlanta, Sebring, Long Beach, Red Bull, Zolder, Charlotte. Well, many of those, well, 3 of those anyways, I guess. Road Atlanta, Sebring, Long Beach, 3 classic road racing circuits, at least here in the United States. 3 classic places to go take any kind of IMSA racing or anything like that. 3 fantastic venues, and now we get to VIR, another one of those. So half of the schedule made up of classic North American racing circuits, and then you have a classic South American racing circuit next week to wrap things up on Cinco de Mayo. Should be a lot of fun. Practice wrapping up here. Sonny Brown leads the way. Then it's David Stevenson, John Kroom, Brian Long, and Diego Eda. Your top 5, Bobby Flack, Mike Braun, Ilya Speaker, Will Coffey, and Rob Rodriguez make up your top 10 in practice. But it is time, JP, for qualifying. So this is our first real action of the day, if you will. Our first good indication of how these guys might race.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to set, I guess, a really good, not precedent, but it's going to set a good story already to see who's got the best one-lap pace, to see who's got the confidence to push their car a bit, to the absolute limit in qualifying. This is going to be really important. You can see Ilya Speaker on a BMW, James Colborn as well on a BMW. And we just saw, I think it was John Sedlak on a Porsche.
It was Brandon Louvier, and you also got Avon Dorsey here. In a Porsche. So yeah, this is our good chance to go through car choice that we always love to do. Dominic Angelicchio in a Ferrari, and Diego Eda, they're still in his McLaren. I love that. John Kroom in a Ferrari, the first Ferrari I think we've seen so far. Sean Patterson in an Audi, Bobby Flack in an Audi, Marco Garcia in a BMW, Rob Rodriguez Jr. in BMW, Will Coffey in a Mercedes. What?
Interesting. That is very, very interesting to see a Mercedes. Nice. I like that.
Blaine Sparling is out there in a BMW as per usual. Brian Long now with a new TWS livery, the Wrong Stuff. This is new. This is different. Haven't seen this for the Wrong Stuff before, but I like it for the Ferrari. Interesting there. Clarence Rosa. He's usually one of the few drivers in a Mercedes, isn't he? And he's out here in a Ferrari tonight. David Stevenson out there in a BMW in car 13. Sonny Brown, another Mercedes in the field, JP. Scott Angelo, another Mercedes in the field. Kenneth Michael in a Lamborghini. How about that? Kerry Corcoran in a Ferrari. Adolfo Perez in a Porsche. Brent Kingcott in a BMW. A Porsche here for Teague Ashburn. Love that. Mike Braun out there in a Mercedes. All right. Austin Hodel, Ferrari. Zach Rosar in a... What is this with Mercedes tonight? Philip Badurki in a Ferrari. Joshua Lyon in a BMW. Nicholas Sykes. What do you want to guess this car is, JP?
Let me guess. The Mercedes?
Well, I don't know yet. Let's go ahead and find out.
All
It's
right.
a bit underwhelming, not going to lie. Joshua Tucker, I don't think we've seen him yet. Oh, look at that.
There you go.
Another Mercedes.
Yeah, quite a few Mercedes. James Colborn in his BMW. Quite interesting to see this choice of cars, Andrew. Obviously, it's so fun to see all the manufacturers being represented. I think we have all of them, don't we? We certainly have an
Aside
Audi.
from the Ford.
Oh, apart from the Ford. But yeah, the rest, I mean, it's all there. So there we go. Now we can see on board the Mercedes. This is heading out of the roller coaster into hog pen. And we can see just how much precision you need, especially in that final corner, on the second to last corner, essentially, just to not go a bit too wide and dip. Will looks like he's going to be opening his lap. Will Coffey is. You see Sean Patterson on a Lamborghini, I want to say.
Oh, that is an Audi.
Yeah, that's an Audi. So yeah, you can see him making his way down into the lower S, and I think it is Brian Long in his Ferrari. Just looks like he just exited South Bend and heading to Oak Tree.
Through Oak Tree now for Brian Long in car 12. Brendan Louvier, I already see some of his fans out there. He's in a Porsche this evening. And if anybody does want to get on our good side for this week or next, maybe if a pro driver's out there listening doesn't know what car to choose just yet, pick a Ford. Just, we'll leave it at that. Pick a Ford. You'll get on our good side real quick.
Absolutely. I mean, it would certainly be very, very interesting to see a Ford competing against the rest of the GT3. You can see Joshua Tucker making his way through Oak Tree. And Andrew, you can correct me, but the Oak Tree isn't there anymore in the Rio VIR, is it?
No, that's why I'm so glad iRacing still has it. I was struck by lightning years ago, and really recently, actually. Not super recently, not in the last 3 or 4. It's been a few years now as John Cream goes purple over Brandon Louvier. Yeah, no longer there, unfortunately. I think you can still purchase pieces of the original Oak Tree that was struck by lightning, but yeah, unfortunately, no longer there. Hopefully, the tree is able to regrow. I think they have actually a sapling from the original Oak Tree that is regrowing, and they're working to get it to the point where they can replant it over in in Oak Tree and hopefully get that tree back. But Sonny Brown, quickest so far in qualifying, as time start to flood in. We'll bring up the ticker on the left side of your screen. Stevenson second, Braun is third, and now Mike Braun is driver 107. He is, well, that's just his number, but it looks like another driver joined before him in, well, not their own number, so hopefully that gets corrected for Interlagos next week, but Mike Braun will be scored as 26 car tonight as opposed to 107. And hey, Rob Rodriguez Jr. looking good.
Yeah, looking good as well. You can see he's in 4th place currently. He is the leader of our championship currently, so he's doing what he needs to do, Andrew. I'm pretty sure he's only focusing on finishing the race in a good position, and top 4 currently is definitely a strong position. It's a good haul of points for him to take home, but it's still 4/10 of a second, and I'm still surprised that Sonny Brown went pole, at least on provisional pole, on a Mercedes. It's certainly interesting. Did we have a new BOP this week for the GT3s?
If so, I did not catch wind of it, but it's certainly a possibility. As Sonny Brown heads down to roller coaster one more time. He's on lap number 2, so he should get a 3rd lap after this, and this is a good look at exactly how tough it is to get around here. Let's go to the onboard, actually, and especially in those. I'm surprised drivers going for the Mercedes here. It feels like a boat usually, so I'm surprised that it's able to get around a place like this as nimbly as it is, and there you go. Well, yeah, off track.
Yeah, just how easy it is to make a mistake. And but yeah,
Diego at the 5th.
Ooh, Diego, nice lap there. Almost have a second, but it's 5th place. It's a good starting position for this race. But I was gonna say, Andrew, the top 4, they're all front engine cars. It looks like Bobby Fleck actually just went 4th place, improved on his lap. And there you go, an Audi. So the top 3 now, only front wheel drive. No, that's a TCR's front engine cars. And Bobby Fleck splitting them. So quite interesting to see the balance of the car working, and an Audi, seeing an Audi up here, it's also really good.
Mike Braun in a Mercedes, David Stevenson in a BMW, and Sonny Brown up there in a Mercedes. This is so weird to see a Mercedes revival this evening, but I like it. It's different. Rob Rodriguez in a BMW, Diego out there in his McLaren, and John Kroom in a Ferrari. That's the best Ferrari in the field so far. That is so bizarre to see the best Ferrari behind, well, I guess P7 isn't that crazy, but behind so many different manufacturers is kind of wild. Behind a BMW, behind a bunch of Mercedes, behind even a couple of Audis, I think, and a McLaren. That's odd.
And didn't we start the season with the Ferrari being the absolute favorite?
I think it was BMW Cup at Road Atlanta, and then quickly went to Ferrari Cup. I forget what race 2 was now, but Sebring? Yeah, Sebring sounds right.
Yes, and then Long Beach, I think we had quite a few Ferraris as well.
Whoa.
Oh, as Louvier, makes a big mistake. That's on the final corner. That's just exiting Hockpen.
Yeah. Gets a little bit of grass there on exit and goes around Brian Long in the pit lane. Here's Will Coffey. Headed into, is that Oak Tree? It is Oak Tree. He will keep his lap rolling. Let's go on board. 2.5 minutes to turn of time. We've got 31 cars in the session. We had 28 in qualifying and a few extras showed up. Scott Angelo goes up the board to the 21st position with Muradness on board. Ivan Dorsey in a Porsche goes up to 20, well, moves now to 21st as Sean Patterson went a little bit faster. And Teague Ashburn will take over the 22nd spot in car 871 and have a bit of an excursion.
Just a small little one. He's gonna make his way back to the pits real quick. You see now Philip Berderka on his number 70 Ferrari. Looks like he just practicing the pit entry a little bit. And this is also really fun to see, Andrew, the pit entry. You can see those, I guess, old classic buildings right there. As Brain Cot looks like he's going to finish his qualifying attempt. And Garcia Zachariah Roser looks like he's still on his last flying lap.
He is actually on lap number 4, so he's gone through his qualifying effort. There aren't too many drivers still out there trying to turn a time. Although Adolfo Perez is one of them. In car 92, he is 29th. He's on lap number 3. So he's trying to finish this lap up. Brandon Louvier as well. Stevenson's completed his run. Rosar's completed his run. Angelicchio's completed his run. Nicholas Sykes actually could go faster. He's in car 29, position 27. He'll come to the line and see if he can go any faster.
Coming up to the line, he currently sits on a 149.0, 148.783. That's an improvement right there. I'm not quite sure.
No positions.
Yeah, there he goes. No position, but 0.3 of a second gain, Andrew. That's quite a big gain for just one lap in qualifying. So, yep, quite good. Now, Adolfo Perez, is he still in the qualifying lap? And if he is, I don't think he's gonna. Oh, he just exited Hogpen? No, he's on the back straightaway. I don't think he's gonna finish his lap.
Yeah, it's gonna be close. I mean, it's gonna be down to a second or so. Very, very close here for him. Let's see, he needs 20 seconds from about 128. I don't think he's gonna do it, but it's gonna be real close at least, JP.
Yeah, it's going to be really close. It's going to be down to this few seconds, I think, as he's making his way through the final few corners. Be careful not to invalidate. Line yourself up for a hot pen. Looks like he does that. Oh, that was exiting hot pen. And, well, start-finish line is 0 seconds.
Oh! I don't think it counted.
Oh, barely.
Unfortunately there for Adolfo Perez. He almost had that timed perfectly to get a lap in there at the end, but not quite. There's a great look at the old oak tree. That unfortunately is no longer there. But hey, we've got a field of cars lining up for us, getting ready to go racing this afternoon. Let's go ahead and meet our starting grid. Starting on pole this evening at VIR, Sonny Brown in a Mercedes. That's so weird. A few years ago, that'd be commonplace here on iRacing, but not so anymore. So weird to see a Mercedes doing so good today. It's a great car. It's fallen behind the couple of BOPs, a couple of new cars that have come out, like the BMW and the Ferrari, for example. It's good, though, to see Mercedes on pole alongside David Stevenson. Starting third, it's Mike Braun in car 26, then Bobby Flack in an Audi. Love to see that. Excuse me, starting fifth place this evening in the inside of row number 3, you'll find, well, hang on. You'll find, there we go, Rob Rodriguez Jr. in car 66 with Diego Era there to his left side in a McLaren. Starting 7th, it's our top Ferrari of the evening, and John Kroom in car 45 for Rockefeller Racing with Brandon Louvier in a Porsche starting 8th. And you know what, JP? In this top 8 alone, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 7 possible manufacturers. The only manufacturers not included are Lamborghini and Ford. That is impressive. Starting 9th this evening, you've got Brian Long in a Ferrari with Will Coffey alongside in a Mercedes.
11th place goes the way of Frank Kenkot. Alongside him, the number 159 of Blaine Sparley, lining up in 12th place. Starting row number 7 on the inside line, 13th place, we're going to have EVA Speaker, third place in the championship at the number 6, and Marco Garcia is going to line up alongside in 14th place. Joshua Lyon, the number 123, is going to line up in 15th, alongside him Zachariah Roser in 16th spot. 17th, we're going to have Joshua Tucker in the 112, and the number 19 of Kenneth Michael lining up alongside him. In row number 10, Andrew, on the inside line, we're going to have Clarence Rosa and Sean Patterson.
Starting from the 21st position, you'll find car 7, Avon Dorsey, that's also a Porsche, alongside another Porsche, Teague Ashburn. Starting from 23rd, you'll find Scott Angelo in a Mercedes and Dominic Angelicchio in a Ferrari. Starting 25th, you'll find Austin Hodell and Philip Madurka, and gridded up in the 27th position, pretty deep in the field, is Nicholas Sykes, also in a Ferrari this evening with Kerry Corcoran in a Ferrari. Starting on the next to final row of the field, you've got Adolfo Perez in that last Porsche of the field, then Joshua Benjamin in a Ferrari, and shotgun to them all, it's James Colborn in the black and blue number 73 BMW, getting ready to go racing this evening from VIR. JP, let's go ahead and take a look at the weather for this race. 75, almost, well, yeah, 76 degrees out there in the air. That is 104 degrees in the track, and as these guys get their tires warmed up and get accompanied once more to the track, you can see we've got some sun beating straight down on it. We're about noon time in the sim. It's going to be warm.
Yeah, it's going to be warm. It's gonna be interesting. I feel like this is gonna be a bit warmer than they are used to. Maybe we're gonna see a few mistakes due to the high track temperature. Which, Andrew, I think it only makes things a bit more interesting. We like a bit of a challenge to those drivers, right? We don't want to see the track perfectly cool and on the perfect temperatures. We want to see something challenging.
I think the big thing is we're going to see tires wear a bit more than usual. And it's not that they're going to take tires. We know they're not going to take tires in this race. That's still not the strategy move. But we are going to see more tire wear. I think we're going to see more fall off. The temps are certainly going to be higher. The times will fall off. So we'll see, I think, more reason to save your tires longer into a race and try and keep the car together. So we're going to see some interesting different little things here with strategy and how these drivers play their race. As you can see right through Oak Tree here, fantastic shots.
Fantastic. This track is just so beautiful, Andrew. And I feel like it has to be amongst the, I guess, prettiest tracks on iRacing. I mean, everything about the track is just lovely, isn't it?
That it is, as we get ready for 40 minutes of amateur racing action. Let's go ahead and remind you about our standings picture. We're watching Rob Rodriguez Jr., Diego Era, and Ilya Speaker, even Brent King, Cop, Brian Long. Those are your 5 drivers to watch the next 2 weeks, at least tonight, and that might narrow up for Interlagos next week. But those names we're watching, especially Rob Rodriguez and Diego Era, they are both starting in the top 10. In fact, 5th and 6th. They're on the same road, JP. I didn't even catch that when I did the top 10. Yeah, they're starting next to each other for this race, and they are the drivers we're watching realistically for this amateur championship. Pretty cool to have them starting so far forward as we roll through roller coaster for the final time before racing conditions are underway here at VIR. I'd like to thank you to all the partners here with the North American Racing League, of course, Race Lab, Radness, Tam Livery, and JS Consulting, all doing so much for this series and allowing us to do what we love so much, covering North American Racing League action week in, week out. It is Virginia International Raceway as we get ready to go racing from VIR out in Virginia. Get your hands up, get the green flag in the air, we're racing. Oh, there's some contact. The first one of the night. Kenneth Michael turned around in front of the field. I see Avon Dorsey through the grass, but you know what? We keep racing.
Yeah, we keep racing. There wasn't a roadblock at all. Just a few cars had to take avoiding action, and the rest of the field makes their way. You can see one side-by-side action injury. As looks like we're gonna head into the S's section 2 actually make that 2. So really interesting.
Oh no, Brandon Louvier! Way out in the dirt. Car 88 with trouble. There's more joining him, I think.
Oh, but where is he going? Oh, some wild off-track excursion. You can see more cars going side by side.
He's back on over by South Paddock. He cut the entire course there and drifted to the other side of the racetrack. That's going to be a whole corner cut. That's going to be a massive penalty for him to serve.
I think it's going to be well over 40 seconds, if not longer.
Oh, he's going to have to take. Yeah, he's going to have to come in and serve a stop and go. That's a whole track cut. That's a whole corner cut, not just giving up time. That's going to be rough. And oh, he gets into Diego there. That's that is the worst driver to get into contact with right now. Diego Era with that McLaren trying to battle for the point standings. Wow.
Wow, indeed. It's interesting first lap here, Andrew. It's going to already come to a close, and you can see him. Oh,
that's going to be speeding.
Oh, that's going to be even another penalty for him. He's going to be stuck on the pits for at least 1 lap at this stage. And it's a bad start for him for the number 88 driver. He's starting in 8th place. And you can see even a little bit of damage. We're going to have to wait to see how long he stays in the pit lane. But Andrew, that's 1 lap done by VIR. We still have over 37 and a half minutes of racing. I'm definitely ready for it.
And here's our leaders through NASCAR Bend and Left Hook. And they will head up to the lower S's. Rob Rodriguez Jr., the top of the championship competitors, as we've got a couple of bits of trouble throughout the field. Brian Long has turned around. Sean Patterson along with him in car 54, trying to get a hold of him. There he is. And oh, Nicholas Sykes and Avon Dorsey again in trouble. Kerry Corcoran turned around, doing donuts in the grass in NASCAR Bend.
Quite a bit of issues happening on this first section of the racetrack, especially on the second lap. So It looks
The
like
first
lap
lap
number
wasn't
one.
too bad. There wasn't much that
Yeah, I was
happened
just-
lap 1.
So I think drivers got a bit comfortable knowing that they survived lap 1 and started to take a bit more risk in lap number 2. We're gonna see exactly what happened. This is the horseshoe, and we're gonna keep an eye on this Audi right here. He's leading this small pack.
Oh, it
You
happened
can
with
see
Brian
one
Long
for-
getting further up the road. He's in the middle of the track now.
one for-
Sean
he checks
Patterson.
up.
Oh!
Oh no! And he cannot get the car slowed down. It hits the tire barrier, and you can see 2 extra cars. Oh, unfortunate.
I'm not sure what happened to Brian Long, but he is definitely the catalyst in all of this. And fortunately, the wrong stuff, definitely. Well, this was not the right stuff. Here's car 123 at the inside. That is Joshua Lyon that he's side by side with. Lyon was one of the only Porsches at Red Bull Ring, and Long got sideways out of the horseshoe, made contact with him there. Oh, crunched into the wall. And there's this that happens in NASCAR Bend. And yeah, the car is broken, and he body slams Sean Patterson. There's more checkup with Sykes and Dorsey. Just not what you want to have happen there. Oh, and that's where Corcoran goes around in front of so many cars.
Oh, and he's wise to just step on the gas and get out of the racing line right there. Avoids further contact. So, interesting lap number 2, Andrew.
And now Joshua Lyon has just come down to the pit lane and has just served. We came in for 5 seconds. That was it.
Yeah,
5.5 seconds.
Yeah, remember he smacked the wall as well, the armful barrier.
I didn't think he got. Well, I guess yeah, maybe, but. Anyways,
Yeah,
that's all
maybe.
behind us. What is up front is Sonny Brown leading the race over David Stevenson and Rob Rodriguez Jr. Mike Braun is close here to Rodriguez. Bobby Flack right behind him. They work into Oak Tree.
It's a nice 3-car battle for 3rd place.
So, with a couple of mishaps there, the first lap was pretty good. I mean, yeah, there were some problems that first lap, but all things considered, not too bad. And then it seems like lap 2, everybody got to crashing out of their system real quick, and we're back to racing a little bit. Good to see that they're still, I mean, out of 31 starters, 30 of them are still moving. Brian Long, the only car stopped after his big issues there through turn 1 with, what was that, Joshua Lyon that he made contact with.
And this is on board with Mike Braun, right?
Yes, this is on board with 4th place, Mike Braun.
You can already see a bit of damage on the bonnet, so definitely made a bit of contact, maybe with Rob Rodriguez at one point, and it already carrying out a little bit of damage. I don't think it's going to be affecting him too much, but, well, he unfortunately already has a little bit of damage. That's going to be at least, I mean, it's going to be negligible on the fast repair on the pit lane, but, well, that could be the start, you know, of something bigger. You can see the rest of the field making their way through the horseshoe, quite a few close battles, Andrew. Quite a few cars already going defensive, which is interesting to see this early on. Drivers are willing, looks like, to take risks for that track position, which seems, I mean, it's not seems, it is very important around VIR.
Some battles here just outside the top 10. Ilya Speaker. Oh, his Will Coffey's got a problem. He is off in the lower S's, gets back on. And he's having to take now to the grass to try and get out of people's way. But he does get out of people's way. Look at that. And he goes right to the back end of the battle we were just going to talk about with Zach Rosar, Marco Garcia, Ilya Speaker, and some others as they work now through the upper S's and head up to South Bend. Watching Marco Garcia chasing Ilya Speaker in car 6. No, Diego Eder was off in the grass there. Gets back on right in front of Joshua Tucker. Rosar here in the Mercedes. First time we've seen that for him this season. He's working on the back end of Garcia.
Yeah, he's trying to close up to, as you mentioned, Garcia up ahead. Rosar is currently in 12th. Oops, excuse me, a bit of a hiccup. Rosar is currently in 12th. He's already looking down the inside of the roller coaster. Will he dive? Looks like him and the BMW ahead are pretty much the same on the straight line speed. You can see the BMW goes a little bit deeper on the braking, but manages to slow down. But Andrew, looks like Rosar is, I mean, it's quite eager to get past the driver ahead. It looks like he really wants that 11th position. Maybe he thinks he's quicker already and wants to challenge for the top 10. A good run out of the final corner, out of Hog Pen, and he's going to be looking probably down to the inside. This is a few further battles for the positions behind. Looks like this is just exiting Hog Pen into the main straightaway, and there he goes. Zachariah Rosar makes his way past Garcia for 11th place. And, well, a good move right there. Lined up beautifully, went on the inside, and got the job done.
And now Brent Kingcott joins this fight. Kingcott is in a pretty good spot in the points, but maybe not going to go for a championship now. He was closer the last couple of weeks and starting to fall back in the 4th spot. I think he usually runs an Audi, so interesting that he's gone for the BMW this week with live race control on the side of that car. Ilya Speaker just ahead of these guys. He's third in the points, coming into tonight. Also in a BMW, comes in 34 points out of the lead. And Brian Long, I think, is safe to say no longer in this fight.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think he'll be able to. I don't think he'll be able to closing the gap. It's just way too big, and unfortunately, the start of the race wasn't too kind to him. A bit of contact early on, and yeah, he's gonna be out already. Diego Arias, you can see right here in the McLaren. He's currently 8th place, only lost 2 positions, so he definitely made up a few because he lost 2 positions with that contact early on with Luvia, didn't he?
Yeah, he's pretty much made up spots. You're right. Considering where he was after lap 1, he has made up some spots and is keeping himself alive, albeit behind Blaine Sparling here, so in the 8th spot. But, I mean, this is going to be tough. With the way Rodriguez has been lately, I think Bryce Rodriguez certainly helping him out a lot this season, as you would expect, considering their father-son. But it's going to be so tough to unseat card 66. I really don't know that Diego can do a whole lot to beat him. I think he's just got to make sure that he doesn't jeopardize his second place in the standings. And so far, he's doing a great job of, well, doing exactly that, not jeopardizing that second spot in the standings. Coming out here, putting it in the top 10 and qualifying nearly the top 5, putting it in the top 10 in the race so far. Sure, he's been hit, but keeping the car alive, keeping the car out there running. That's all he's got to do at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what he needs to do to maybe challenge for the championship is make sure he runs his own race. You know, obviously, currently his championship, the championship leader is in 3rd place, and he's all the way down in 8th. But you know, Andrew, he just needs to make sure he finishes. Anything can happen to Rob ahead, and you know, if something happens to Rob and well, it does in DNFs, it's gonna go for nothing. So he needs to make sure he gets good points, you know, safe points. And yeah, we're just gonna have to wait to see how it all is gonna shake up at the checkered flag in Interlagos. Currently, a good race for him, and I mean, props for him for running McLaren in VIR. That's a brave choice.
Well, our championship leaders do work up front. Let's go a little further deep in the field. Adolfo Perez working on Austin Hodel for 20th position. Austin in Ferrari, and Adolfo in a Porsche here. And it looks like Joshua Benjamin has just gone on by Austin Hodel, considering he's got 19 on the marker. Yeah, you can see Benjamin with the 20. So Hodel already headed in the wrong direction currently. Gonna try and turn this around.
And quite a bit of damage to the number 145. I'm not pretty sure if you caught that, Andrew, on the front end. There he goes. So quite a bit of damage. So he got passed. And even with that damage, so the pace is looking really good for him. We're just gonna have to wait and see. And unfortunately for him, obviously the pit window, I think it's already open, but I don't know if it's worth for Benjamin to stop already, Andrew. It's definitely gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I don't think pitting yet is really within the cards as Perez continues to work on him here. And oh, Blaine Sparling with problems. This is, oh, where is this? This might be early in the lap. Is that out of turn 1? Yes. That was out of turn 1. He's now in a NASCAR bend, so early in the lap there out of the horseshoe. Let's go back and see what happened to him. He was just ahead of Diego Arenal, so that promotes Diego up into the 7th spot, which is good for Diego. Great for the points battle there. But not so great for the pink 159. Let's see what happens here.
Because he's running by himself, so I wonder if he just tried to push a bit too much and... No, didn't the wheel
way deep into one.
And just carry a bit too much speed. Couldn't get the car stopped. And he's going to rejoin, losing a whole bunch of positions, but no damage. You can see he's doing really safe rejoin, Andrew, which is really good to see. Just taking his time rejoining. He knows he's in a jeopardized position, but not willing to sacrifice you know, the other drivers. Really good to see. You can see this battle right here between Mike Braun and Rodriguez. Still a battle for 3rd place. Mike Braun is still challenging quite a bit Rodriguez, and I don't think Mercedes drivers is saving fuel at this point, Andrew, which is quite good to see. He's willing to attack, but looks like he's not willing to, not attack for the sake of the strategy. He maybe thinks he's faster.
You say that, but last time we were on board with Mike Braun at turn 1, he put the clutch in. Let's watch the RPMs this time. Let's watch both the dash and the RPM on the graphic here on the bottom right. Yep, clutch.
So I take that back. There we go. So he's saving fuel, Andrew, but it looks like
Always saving fuel here in North American Racing League. Always.
it's just a theme, right? I don't think we even should speculate about that anymore.
No, it's a guarantee at this point. If there are cars on track in a race session, there is fuel saving happening. This is a battle for third, as Mike Braun puts a little bit of pressure here on Rob Rodriguez. Certainly would like for Rob to have a slip up. So far, our whole top 10 has been quite good today, I must say. Even Zachary Rosar, these guys back here, Brent Kingcott goes a bit sideways. And, watch the rejoin there into Sparling. Thankfully, no contact. Kingcott, I kind of saw it there as the camera panned on by him, but just the back end of the car came around a little bit of speed through the left hook and went around on him. But the rest of these guys continue on.
Zachariah Rosar looks like he made his way up to 10th place right now, and he's challenging the speaker. So, did Coffee? Oh, it was Kingcott, right? He just dropped out of the top 10. So I think that's going to promote everybody. But yeah, this is a good little battle right here, Andrew. This is, I think, for 8th place, and we have one more car. Oh, really getting loose, and it looks like he rejoined safely. Joshua Benjamin. Unfortunately, he's going to be taking an excursion, probably getting a slowdown as well. And he's going to be rejoining, it looks like, 25th position. If
you recall, the last time we saw him, he was 19th ahead of Adolfo Perez and Austin Hodel. He is now dropped into 25th with this new spin. He'd actually just dropped behind them into 21st, behind James Colborne as well, but then has that happen to him as Blaine Sparling, Brent Kingcott battle up over roller coaster. Kingcott now with the left side. That's an advantage. Well, a disadvantage at first, then an advantage, but either way, it doesn't work out for him. And Sparling takes that spot back away. Tucker with a problem. Oh, he's into the pit lane. This is early.
Interesting. So, gambling early, Tucker. We're going to have to see how much fuel he puts in. What are we, 50 minutes in the race? Overshoots
having to back
a little
up.
bit. Yeah.
He just burned a good 5 seconds at least.
Really.
Oh, Zachary Rosar in trouble. This is for real. No. He is off the track.
And this is on the horseshoe.
Yeah, the car looks fine, but just goes off. Looks like just like Blaine Sparling did.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it looks like we have one more car in. Oh no, Tucker just leaves. So 12 seconds stopped on the pit lane, Andrew.
Well, that 34.73, I think, should have been a lot more like 28.
Yeah. Maybe 28, 30. That's going to be a good margin. He's going to be losing a whole bunch of time. So anytime he expected to gain on the undercut, I think that's going to be all canceled out.
Joshua Benjamin in the pit lane now. He comes in 11.95 seconds in the box. We'll see what it is in the pit lane as a whole here in a moment. Likely just accepting that he had some problems. Go ahead and come in, kind of reset. And yeah, 28 seconds in the lane.
Bang on, Andrew, very good. So you can see how much time he lost.
Marco Garcia was just slow out of Oak Tree. He just gave up a spot to Will Coffey, who's now in the top 10. There's been a lot that's happened. Rosar lost a spot. Garcia lost a spot. Kingcott spun. Oh, and look at these guys, teammates.
Ooh. Teammates, don't race too hard. It looks like, well, maybe a little bit of contact on the exit, not quite. This is the 145. This is
Austin Hodel. He just lost that spot to James Colborne.
Now he's just behind his teammates, so he's gonna try to get some help. Maybe Andrew, he just allowed his teammate behind, knowing he has a little bit of damage, and is gonna try to race these guys a little bit harder to help his teammate eke out a little bit of a gap.
Possibly. You know, we talk about these team orders, these team alliances so often, but usually we're proven wrong, aren't we? We're, no, there's no team orders. They're just trying to go out there and race. I think until we get up into the pro guys with like full-time esports and such, they tend to do a little bit of helping each other, but it seems like for the most part, these teams in most leagues that we cover, when we think they're working together, they usually aren't.
Yeah, absolutely. It's how often do we have teammates just, I guess, discussing with each other, just interesting. You can see just behind, we saw a bit of a dive right behind these two.
To the inside.
And that was quite bold, and it works, but they're going to go side by side through NASCAR bend, and I'm pretty sure the driver on the inside is just going to have the advantage over there, and he does. So, but interesting, Andrew, drivers are taking a bit more opportunity on their braking, especially down in turn 1, and that's where we saw at least 2 guys going a bit too deep. Cutting back to the front, this is EA Speaker. It looks like holding off Garcia. So Garcia, after being overtaken, it looks like he found his pace back.
The chasing car number 6 here. It's Rockefeller Racing versus Rhythm Motorsports, it looks like. Let's go on board with Marco Garcia. Just how fast are these guys getting up to roller coaster? Well, in the draft, I saw 160 there before Garcia lifted. I think he could have gone a little bit further there if he wasn't following Ilya Speaker, but hey, fair enough. Into the 160s for these GT3 cars, that's flying.
Yeah, those two are. I mean, Andrew, can you believe you're going? Would you go 160 around VIR?
Oh, I'd love to, but it certainly would not feel settling. It would not feel calming by any means in a roller coaster going 160 miles an hour as Berderka completes that pass now on Avon Dorsey up over roller coaster. A little bit of contact maybe. But I see what you're getting at. That's not something that would ever settle your stomach going into roller coaster and hitting the brakes at 160 miles an hour. But how do you imagine the prototype guys do it here in IMSA? I mean, they've got to just, well, yeah, I think you get the point.
Yeah, they're a different breed than us, I think. I mean, whenever I go like 80 miles an hour on the highway, I'm like, I'm flying pretty much Lewis Hamilton. So, yeah, these guys, well, I mean, props to them, especially doing it in real life. But yeah, really good battles right here we can see. And, I mean, I just love this track, Andrew. I cannot talk enough of it. And seeing these guys actually going at it and following each other so closely means it shows how much practice they have put in to pretty much nail this track corner by corner.
Oh boy, that's not the direction that car should be pointing. As that is out of turn number 3. That's at a NASCAR bend here. Rodolfo Perez goes around, gets back going. Scott Angelo working on Dominic Angelicchio. This is for the 15th position if he can get it. They'll work through Oak Tree.
And you can see now we're going to take a look at how effective this slipstream is to see how much it pulls up. Obviously going uphill, this could help a little bit, but you can see just marginal gains right here. You can see just falling 1,000 by 1,000.
Well, and Dominic is in a Ferrari, and it seems like the Ferrari has been best on the straight line this season, so I'm not really surprised, to be honest. Yeah, this Ferrari is just so good. It's so balanced, feels so good for most of these racetracks. It's got the legs, of course, it is a prancing horse. It's such a good car, although Scott Angelo did close in.
Yeah, looks like the Ferrari may be suffering on that section because we have the number 73 having a long, I mean, just mowing a little bit of lawn. That was exiting the roller coaster. Now he heads into hog pen, taking a little bit of that curb. I wonder if he'll go to the pit lane. I don't think he will. His
teammate is, though, Austin Hodel.
Yeah, gonna get the damage fixed, get some fuel in, trying to get some laps in. And we're gonna have to just wait and see how his pace is looking. Up ahead, well, these two are still following each other.
Rob Rodriguez still leading. Mike Braun still second. And can we just go ahead and talk about the masterclass so far from Sonny Brown? Was it Sonny that was so good last? I think it was, right? At Charlotte, that was leading the way in amateur, just had some kind of some other kind of day that we've never seen from him so far, and unfortunately dropped out of the race. And just in case, get the knock on wood going for him. But GP, just to cover all bases, can you get the knock on wood going here for Sonny?
There we go. I mean, it's all covered. If he drops out for any reason, Andrew, I mean, I don't know. It's definitely a curse, but yeah, he's doing a fantastic job. He got this gap early on in the race, and he's coming. No, he's not coming to the pit lane. You can see just started first, currently first, was a high and as low as first, led all 12 laps so far. Just fantastic pace from him. I feel like he's just controlling the pace, and you're 1.9, sorry, ahead of Stevenson behind. It was also, I mean, at a really good pace as Rob Rodriguez and Mike Braun go at it on the horseshoe. Mike just got ahead a little bit, but Rob was able to retake the lead, the position. But yeah, fantastic race from the top 4. The top 2, though, a class of their own.
Yeah, Emerson, you've got a mic. I know you're playing social media role tonight, but can we get an audible knock on wood, please? Like, we need to get the social media guy. Like, the last thing I want to do is jinx Sonny Brown tonight. Had such a great race at Charlotte last week, dropped out of the race, and we've seen that so many times this season. I don't know why it's been elevated, but it has been. Emerson, I guess, isn't quite listening because he hasn't given us that knock on wood yet. But anyway, we'll leave him to his social media duties. I'm sure he's busy at the moment. But yeah, the last thing I want to do is be the cause for jinx for Sonny Brown a second week in a row. As pit stops are starting to pick up here, JP. We got several cars down the lane. Philip Paderka, Sean Patterson, There he is in his Audi. Nicholas Sykes has been in recently. A lot of cars coming down in, and Ilya Speaker's even taken a pit stop recently. As recently as 1 lap ago, Joshua Tucker's been through, as we saw. There's Zachariah Rosar after his pit stop. Joshua Lyon had his early stop. Kerry Corcoran is pitted. James Colborn right behind him, of course, is pitted. Brandon Louvier, Sean Patterson, Joshua Benjamin. So many cars in the back have already pitted. When do the leaders come in? That's really all that's left to consider is when do these leaders want to come in? Sonny Brown answers by going 1 more lap.
Yeah, I think Sony and Stevenson, they're in a no-brainer position, I think, and to just continue as long as they possibly can. If they just pit and rejoin, let's say, in 6th place, 7th place, they're going to be in a battle between Kroom, Arian, Braun, and they're not going to be able to find, well, just as I say, Mike Braun comes down in the pit lane. So he's going to be a battle between Kroom and Diego Arian. So it's really just down to the last moment. And Mike Braun elected not to take the fast repair, as I can see. His car is still damaged a little bit, 11.6, a 26-second pit lane timer, Andrew. That's a fast one.
Oh, and Brent's deep in his box. He's losing a lot of time here.
Same as Tucker, he's going to be losing, I think, around 5 seconds. And he needs to be careful on the exit. If he just goes straight, he might get a little bit of damage on that concrete barrier as Dorsey now comes into the pit lane as well. Hopefully he doesn't overshoot it. You can see there 33 almost seconds on the pit timer. Dorsey looks like we're going to aim Andrew for, I think, 11, 12 seconds on this race.
Yvonne Dorsey in the pits, of course, not getting tires. Dropping down into 18th, maybe 19th, maybe 20th as Tucker is back into the pit lane. Had that early stop, and oh, that might be for repairs. That left side is all kinds of torn up right now.
Yeah, quite a bit of them. You can see coming back. Gets the fast repairs. Joshua Lyon, and he's on the grass, and he cannot exactly. Is that on the horseshoe?
Yeah, that's out of turn 1 again.
Wow. And he's going to cut that corner. He's going to get a slowdown penalty as well, I think. So,
a lot of problems in turn 1 tonight.
Yeah. I mean, remember Oppo on the MX-5? We had quite a bit of troubles on that corner as well. So I think that's the mistake one on this race. You just carry a bit too much speed if you just overshoot a little bit. And you can see, this is Bobby Flack, isn't it? Bobby
Flack now coming in. And I've been informed that it was this man that disconnected last week. So we'll get the knock on wood here for Bobby. He's been doing great so far tonight too. Was in, what, 5th before this pit cycle began. So I'm going to ask that we do it again here. JP, Emerson, can we go ahead and get the knocks on wood? We need this for Bobby.
We have to. Emerson, he's not doing his part, so if anything happens, we know who to blame.
Blame the social media guy.
Absolutely. I mean, we did our part. As Bobby now exits the pit lane, looks like he's going to be racing. I think he just, just Bobby Flack, I think. No, Mike Braun. He just exited behind Mike Braun. Kroom is in a long stop. Garcia now coming down the pit lane. He's going to get a 11, 12, and you can see Andrew. 31. This might be a penalty. I think it has to be a penalty.
Yeah, this is a big problem for John Kroom. The pit stops have been right in the nature of 11 seconds. So if we see 51, 52 seconds here for John Kroom as a total, we know it's a 40-second penalty, which is what it usually is here. So a track limit penalty potentially for John Kroom. He will pull away. Yeah, that's a 40-second penalty.
Fortunate to see Angelico still hasn't come to the pit lane as well, so he's stretching out his fuel. So, Andrew, the drivers who haven't pitted are Sonny Brown, Stevenson, Rodriguez, Eric, Coffey, I want to say as well. And maybe Sparling.
Oh, right in front of our leader. There goes Joshua Benjamin around out of hog pen. Sonny Brown goes another lap, though. 13 minutes to go in this race. He's still leading. Has not pitted. Does David Stevenson come in? Yes.
So there you go. So Stevenson comes down in the pit lane. Looks like he maybe ran out of fuel or, I don't know, saw an opportunity to take an early stop, not follow the leader. We're going to have to wait and see. Andrew, do you think he's going to gamble on fuel to try and get the track position?
That's a good question. Rob Rodriguez comes in behind him here in car 66. A great look here from the pit lane camera. Stevenson will exit. 11.67, nothing too out of the ordinary there. He's got such a good race going, and we have not seen much of Stevenson this season. As a very clean stop there for Rodriguez. Wayne Sparling is now in the box. And Mike Braun will go by Rob Rodriguez, as does Bobby Flack. I am astonished by that. The pit
There you
lane
go. So
time, not much different. I guess Rob Rodriguez just slowed down a little bit, not having the pressure on him.
yeah, maybe just I don't know as well. Lost 2 positions, so really gonna set him back. Interesting to see, but well done by Mike Braun and Bobby Flack. Both of them. Oh, Bobby starting to blink a little bit. Hopefully that's
We're not even going to
nothing
give that
too
attention.
serious.
What I
No, no, no. Just moves on. Yeah.
Oh, I don't even want to jinx the man. We'll just let him do his thing. He can blink like a Christmas tree if he wants to. But I do really, we gave the focus to Sonny Brown for a second. I think it's deserving as well to give the focus here to David Stevenson as he's exited the pit lane, gets back going here. Started second, currently fourth because of the pit cycle. Should go on by Etta and Coffee after his pit stop. But this guy has just been so good tonight. Not making mistakes, keeping the car on the racetrack. We don't see much of him. We really have not this season. This is such a good run here for car 13. He's one of the more unknown drivers, I feel like, one of the quieter drivers. We don't know a whole lot about him. We've never talked to him before. And he's out here about to put up a P2, it looks like, in this race. Such a good run so far for David Stevenson.
Oh, absolutely, and that's the thing we mentioned. I think Sonny Brown has been doing such an amazing laps, and the gap between him and Stevenson has remained the same throughout the first stint. You can see now the rest of the field making their way through the pit stop. So we're going to see who gains, who loses position. Sonny Brown.
Stevenson's going up by.
Wow.
Sonny Brown loses the lead in the pit lane.
What was Brown's pit stop time? Did we see a gallon of fuel, or maybe Sony miscalculated?
It is a difference of 0.8 of a second between these two. Yeah. The pit lane time, though, 1.2 second difference. Stevenson was better in every single way in the pit lane and earns this position for the race lead. We were just talking about the great night it's been for him to go P2 potentially. He just might change that and go P1. He was a second or so behind Sonny Brown at the pit stops and comes out of the pit lane a second ahead.
Absolutely, and that's the thing I was mentioning. He was close to Stoney all night long. He lost a bit of pace, I guess, in the first two laps. Maybe the tires weren't up to temperature, but as soon as they were, the gap stabilized below 2 seconds, and it didn't move whatsoever. And when it counted into, he definitely put the pedal to the metal and made it work. So, good job from the number 13 driver. Very, very good. He's going to encounter a bit of traffic up ahead, but currently, with 9 minutes and 40 to go, he's sitting in a perfect position.
Now, further back, our points leader has fallen down to the 5th position, was 3rd for much of this race, now loses spots to Mike Braun and Bobby Flack. So Rob Rodriguez has got his work cut out for him at this point in the race, has got to get those spots back. Well, or does he? He's got 4 positions currently on Diego Etta back in 9th position. I don't think he has to be worried. I think Rob can cruise along to a top 5 if he wants to. He's already got 20 points.
Yeah, he doesn't need to take any risks. If the opportunity comes, he will take it, I'm pretty sure. But there's no point of looking down the inside, risking a mistake down in turn number 1. So I think for him, it's just cruising to the end, letting the opportunities come to him. I mean, obviously, Mike Braun and Bobby, they're going to battle soon, hopefully, so he could benefit from that. But the battle we're interested in right now, Andrew, is this one. Is Sonny Brown trying to retake the lead. Stevenson now trying to, maintain the lead. And this is the big thing because those two were in a great pace, and now Sonny has the slipstream.
We might see some drafting between these two for the first time today. BMW on Mercedes. How does this one sort out? A couple of front-engine cars. Pretty much following the same car building math, if you will. Different proportions, certainly. I think the BMW M4 a little more apt to these narrower tracks than the Mercedes, but the Mercedes has been pretty good as of late. It used to be so good for years. It was the car of choice. Kind of fell off of graces as the BMW M4 was added. The Ferrari 488 was updated. Even the Lamborghini was added, the new Porsche. But it seems like 2022, a revival year here for the Mercedes-AMG on iRacing. And he just might be able to pilot this thing back up to a win. I mean, we've only got 7.5 minutes to go. But Sonny Brown is putting that pressure on inside of a half second up to David Stevenson. JP, at the one driver's track where you would think everybody would sort out and would spread out across this place, over 3 miles of asphalt to work with, we're going to have a battle to the win. Literally a battle to the win with 7 minutes to go.
This is fantastic. This is so amazing to see. Stevenson definitely made this race a whole lot more exciting, Andrew. Maybe he gambled on the pit lane. Maybe he did not. It was just a fantastic in and out lap. We're going to have to wait and see. You can see now Sonny Brown, 0.2 of a second, 1.5 right now. You can see Stevenson going defensive. He needs to. Only 7 minutes to go. Sonny's going to look to the outside. He's going to have to outbrake the BMW, maybe force him into a mistake. Stevenson barely leaves enough room, hugged that apex, which is exactly what he needs to do. Sonny cannot get a really good run, and Stevenson is going to hold off for the time being for that P1, Andrew. But this is definitely not over.
Through NASCAR bend, down to turn 4, the left hook. 6.5 minutes to go, or at least just about 6 and 40 seconds anyways. For third, it's Mike Braun over Bobby Flack and Rob Rodriguez Jr. That's your top 5. Your next battle behind these guys goes all the way down to Dominic Angelicchio and Zachariah Rosar. This is back for the 14th position. And even behind them, you've got Austin Hodel hounding Kerry Corcoran. Oh, and King caught it off the racetrack again. Adolfo Perez in trouble. That I think is an oak tree.
Oh, big trouble for him. And he's going to be straight back to the pit lane. Now, these guys are in oak tree, Andrew. 5.5, 0.6 of a second between them. We have a lapped car up ahead of Red Bull car. And this is Nicholas Kyle. Looks like he's back on the pit lane. And Sonny Brown is not going to be able to close up too much. Stevenson not using a bit of
Zachariah Rosar out of NASCAR bend around.
Man, he's going to be waiting a little bit to... Ooh, just rejoins just barely, looks like safely. And Stevenson went a little bit wide on the first part of roller coaster. And now heading into hog pen. Same thing, Andrew. 5/10 of a second. This time the gap is a bit bigger. So the last part of the lap, Stevenson did everything he could. And he's going to be safe for this lap.
A little bit safer maybe to turn 1, but 5 minutes to go. And we're expecting 4 more laps. We're expecting a 23-lap race. We're now on to lap 20. It might only go 3 laps. It might not go 4.
It's going to be interesting to keep an eye, see how long this race will go, how many opportunities Sonny is going to have. And he needs to close up, Andrew, where he can overtake. Around this part of the circuit, it's really difficult heading into the S's. Where do you think Sonny needs to overtake? What are the options?
Either the backstretch into roller coaster or turn 1. He's got to use the full brunt of this Mercedes. He's just going to have to get a good corner exit either out of Oak Tree or out of Hogpen and try and set up for a good passing opportunity into a hard braking zone. He might be able to hound him through somewhere like Oak Tree, but it's going to be difficult. Maybe NASCAR bend, but that's asking for a whole lot to go right. It's going to have to happen into roller coaster or into turn 1, and that's just classic VIR as well, as these guys are still behind car 123. That is Joshua Lyon on a BMW, and now things are really working against Sonny Brown, isn't it? Because, you know, as these guys close into that lap car, Stevenson's going to start to have a tow. He's going to start to have that draft, and we'll be able to stay ahead of him.
But psychologically, that might work against Stevenson. He definitely will want this BMW ahead to move out of his way eventually. And, well, if he doesn't, this can really get into his head. I know, some drivers will get impatient. They'll start making mistakes. And you can see right here, Andrew, the gap is really closing in. Stone Brown leaving it all to attack. Got a really good run out of Hog Pen. This one has opportunity. Stevenson's going to have to go defensive, and he does. Not going to leave any room whatsoever on the inside. Sony's going to wait up until the last moment to dive to the outside. Can he outbreak the BMW? He sets the fastest lap of the race in the process. But he's
contact!
not gonna be...
Stevenson's going to go around. Sonny waited on him for a second, but Stevenson goes around and will lose this race. Sonny Brown will take it. Well, for now. It's not over, but it sure looks like it might be.
Oh, it's really unfortunate. Those two making contact. 3 minutes to go. Is Sony waiting? I think he is. Yes, he is.
Maybe.
No, he's... Oh, I don't think he... I saw the gap coming down.
It's tough to tell.
Oh.
I think he's going to take it.
Yeah.
And especially with Mike Braun and Bobby Flack where they are, I can't blame Sonny. A race win is a race win. Maybe. Well, the gap is starting to narrow. He might give this. I think he might give this up.
Big time. Now he needs to speed up because on the S's, there's not really any overtaking opportunities. So now this is really going to allow Mike Braun and Bobby Flack to close up. This is going to be a 4-car battle to the finish.
At least, as there goes David Stevenson back into the race lead. This brings in Bobby Flack and Mike Braun, as you mentioned. There is the white, black, and purple 26 car. Bobby Flack just behind, and suddenly 5 cars within 3 seconds of each other for this race win. 4 of them within a second and a quarter. What does Mike Braun do here?
Mike just needs to attack, 2 minutes to go. He's not going to have a lot of laps to think about, you know, just lining up a move on both of them. He needs to, you know, essentially just go for it as soon as the opportunity comes. Obviously being clean in the process, but you can see, Andrew, this is a top 4 full of German cars. I just realized this is a German Cup right here. It's going to be interesting to see. Mike Braun now loses quite a bit of time. He's going to fall victim to Bobby Flack maybe. And these two, well, they're still going to go at it. You can see once again, Mike gets a good run out of a hog pin. He's very close. This will be white flag. Again.
White flag here from the flag stand. 1 lap to go. Presented by Whiplash Simcams. Headed down to turn 1 again. Here we go. This is where it happened last lap. Sonny Brown back around the outside. Trying. Not going to happen. Tries to fight back to Apex. Gets his nose there. But the door gets slammed on his big toe. And he's got to wait another corner at the very least. Through NASCAR Bend. Still no opportunity for Sonny Brown to take this lead back away. He lost it in the pit lane. Made contact a lap ago in turn 1. Gave it back to Stevenson. But I don't think he's going to be as friendly this time.
No, definitely not. You can see how not impatient, but how fast Sonny Brown is. Stevenson might be definitely feeling the pressure on this last lap, Andrew. Looks like he doesn't have the pace he had after the pit stops that gave him the lead. Now he's going to have to nail the upper S's right here. You can see absolutely no room for mistake. You can see how much Sonny Brown is going to be attacking this corner. He really closes in. A bit of correction on that wheel as we head into the South Bend. Now into Oak Tree, big braking zone, not close enough, trying to...
Oh, there it is! Off the inside, Sonny Brown's gonna crash! Holds up Mike Braun, Bobby Flack around the outside, Rob Rodriguez as well, and Sonny Brown has been in Oak Tree, trying to get the race win.
But you know what, Andrew, I gotta give him props. He was going for it.
He was, and he just backed that car around, and now look at this. Mike Braun, Bobby Flack, Rob Rodriguez gonna have a battle, a block there! Mike Braun goes to the left side. Bobby Flack around the outside. Rob Rodriguez wants to wade through. Bobby Flack is going to take the position. Rob Rodriguez. Oh, there goes Mike Braun. Out to the tire barrier.
And just like that,
and Bobby Flack is off the racetrack. Rob Rodriguez is going to go second. David Stevenson, though, at a hog pen, JP, is going to take the win in Virginia. What a last lap.
What a fantastic final lap. And what did I tell you, Andrew? Rob Rodriguez just had to wait for his opportunity on the final lap of the race. 3 cars were off, and from 5th place, he finishes 2nd. Wow, indeed. Bobby Flack is going to end up finishing 3rd place. Looks like Mike Braun is going to finish only in 5th as No, Mike Braun, there you go. 4th place, Spartanly in 5th, Speaker in 6th.
Wow.
Whoa. I'm out of breath.
Sonny Brown is going to drop all the way down to 8th spot. And maybe further. Diego Era, actually, he goes 7th. Diego goes 7th, so it's not the finish he needed in relation to Rob Rodriguez, but it's the finish he needed in relation to everybody else to hold on to a 2nd spot in the championship. And if you were not excited by that finish, you need to get your blood pressure checked. That was fantastic.
I mean, I'm out of breath, Andrew. That was absolutely insane. Wow, VIR is such a fantastic place. You can see a few further battles. This is Dominic Angelico holding Zachariah Roser, looks like, to the line. Wow.
The next closest battle, Nicholas Sykes and Sean Patterson. Shouldn't be much of a battle at all, it looks like, because I think Sykes just took this spot away. Yes, he did. Took it away on the backstretch there. So that will be it as far as the racing goes. Just a few more cars to finish this race up. Those being Colborn, Sykes, Patterson, Louvier, and Badurka. And I know there's a lot of fans of this car out there. Car 88 will come across in the 23rd position. Not at all the day he wanted, but after that corner cut early in the race, I'm not entirely surprised, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. That really set him back up, Andrew. He was definitely in the fight. It's unfortunate to see.
Wow. 31 cars for 22 laps here at VIR, and that's some of the best GT3 racing I think we've ever seen, JP. That was simply sensational. Let's go ahead and get a look back at what just happened. I love the comment out there, by the way. What a roller coaster. Yes, what a roller coaster, because it was in the roller coaster where all the action happened there. Let's go back and see if we can find it. This is the move that takes Sonny Brown out of a chance to win this race. We'll have to get another look at it from his onboard, but just the car came around on him into Oak Tree.
Yeah, just pushed a bit too hard. Definitely, you know, going for it on the final lap of the race, and definitely did not work for him. Yeah, but you're just gonna take an onboard here. You can see he goes really deep. The car, oh, he just carries a bit of the brake and he avoids.
Not to hit him.
Yeah, avoids the contact, then it hits. I'm pretty sure he's gonna have quite a bit of suspension damage. That's why he lost so many positions. And
whoa,
yeah, now
Mike
cutting
Braun.
to this. Oh, that's why he lost so much time on the straightaway.
That makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah.
Here comes Tony Flack. You'll see this first block over the crest at Madison Avenue. Wow.
And you can see he's weaving quite a lot, and I don't know
that
what's
car's
happening.
broken.
Oh, I think he hit Sonny Brown.
Yeah, that's right. He did hit Sonny Brown. That car was broken the entire time. You're right.
There you go.
Wow.
So that explains why Mike Braun, was completely weaving. And then, obviously, the Audi, Bobby Flack, was just carrying way too much speed, tried to make the move on the outside, couldn't get the car stopped. And Rob Rodriguez, Andrew, just minding his own business, trying to go for the positions, nailed the braking zone, and absolutely got those 3 spots. Now we're going to take a look at exactly what happened to Mike. Obviously, Sony's going to spin out in front of him, and then the contact happens.
So here's the contact right there, and it's just enough, it seems, to damage that right front.
On the rear end.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
rear.
I think it is the rear, the right rear.
And you can see just how much the car is just trying to go away from him, and he just tried his best to hold on for the last lap of the race, but it wasn't enough.
There's the block, and let's go on board with Rodriguez and just watch this whole thing unfold. Bobby Flack sends it in. He went way too deep into the roller coaster, goes wide. Wow. Just the competition getting out of his way right there. You can't write it up any better than that. Rob Rodriguez given an easy P2 right there at the end. And I don't want to say it's given like he didn't put in work for it, but realistically, he went from 5th to 2nd just like that in the course of the backstretch alone.
Yeah, I mean, it was insane. I wish we had a driver's cam, Andrew, or, to see each and every single driver's face, because I'm pretty sure that was a massive smile opening up on his face as he saw all of that unfolding.
Let's go ahead and get ready then for post-race interviews this evening. We're going to lead off with David Stevenson with a really, really impressive win here in the North American Racing League. But David, you had to chase down Sonny Brown, then do it in the pit lane. And then what happened in turn 1?
Turn 1, I haven't had a chance to actually look at the replay yet. I know I was trying to squeeze him a little bit. He was trying to go around the outside. I think maybe he turned in, or I might have squeezed him a little bit too much. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the replay.
So he gave it back to you into the upper S's, but then you've got a whole fleet of cars behind you guys trying to get at the spots that you guys have. You first, Sonny Brown second, and everybody else trying to get after you. What happened there? What's the game plan then? Suddenly you've got 2 extra cars trying to battle, and then you have him flying up the inside into Oak Tree. I can only imagine what went through your mind.
Yeah. First off, hats off to Sonny. That was top man move to give the position back. Like I said, I don't know what happened exactly, so he must have felt at responsibility for that. So hats off to him. Going through, he gave the position back, which was an odd spot to do it. I was like, if he's gonna do it, I figured he would have done it like maybe at the beginning of the back straight, the S's. But either way, yeah, I don't know exactly what happened with the touch at Oak Tree as well, or what happened with him behind. So I'm not sure what was going on there, but I was really just trying to, since we only had a lap left, I was just gonna play the best defense I can without letting everybody come through, like just try to play it safe.
Well, in the end, you do go ahead and grab this win, and it's big for you. I don't really see you in the best of positions in the standings. You come in, 13th? You'll get a few spots, it looks like, ahead of Dan Willis, Will Coffey. Probably vie for a top 10, if not better. But this has just got to feel good to prove that you can get out here, you can do this, and you're certainly at least a formidable amateur contender, if not maybe a future Pro-Am contender.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I had some pretty bad luck for like 3 races in a row. I got disconnected on the formation lap at Zolder after qualifying in the top 10. So, stuff like that has plagued my season. So yeah, it feels great to get out there and actually put a put a whole race together and show I can do it.
And hey, we'll keep this part quick, but I got to be honest, taking the onboards of Sonny Brown, following you around the racetrack, that livery you've got on tonight gave me Aim Vassar Sullivan vibes. What's the story behind this black and yellow car?
I like to play with the livery and just like do different things. And I've always been a fan of like neon yellow, neon green. And I was like, it would look cool. Some neon yellow. So I just went with it.
I like it. By all means, keep it.
I appreciate it.
Like I said, following from the onboards of Sonny Brown's car, it gave serious Ambassador Sullivan vibes from GTD with their Lexus program. Really cool car. Really, really cool car. Again, congratulations this evening. A big win for you. Glad to see you get up here and take this one away. We'll see what you can do next week in Brazil.
All right, look forward to it. Thanks, guys.
David Stevenson with a big, big win tonight at VIR, and it comes over this guy, which I did not think it would come over this guy at all tonight, but it comes over Rob Rodriguez Jr., JP, and he is alongside for an interview.
So, Rob, what was that final lap? Rob, can I get a copy?
Sorry, I got you now. I was had speaker. Sorry about that.
There you go. No worries. So, I don't know if this is what we call champions luck, but that final lap was something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. You're right. You got to be there, I guess, for luck to come your way. And, going into the last lap, I had Bryce spotting me, and he was saying, I think something's going to happen. These guys are really close. We were all within about 2.5 seconds. And, the last couple turns there, I saw chaos. And so I just kind of tried to squeeze through. I was more than happy to finish where I was, but I'll take the extra spots. No problem.
So what happened on the pit lane? Was it a mistake on the in and out lap that you lost the position? Lost 2 positions, actually. Or was it just, being a little bit safer to make sure you finish the race and grab some points?
Yeah, no, it was definitely the latter. I wasn't really having any issues with the pit stop or anything. I think those 2 guys behind me before we pitted, I think it was Flack and Mike Braun. I think they were a little bit quicker than me. I was probably playing it a little bit conservative, and then they just got me in the pits, and then I came out behind them, and like I said before, I was happy to stay there. I figured P5 was good. I knew where Diego was. He was far back. That's the next guy behind me in the championship points. So I was just really strategizing now, considering there's only now there's 1 race left.
And absolutely, 20 points was the gap coming into this race. You finished well ahead of Diego. How do you approach Interlagos?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to do it the same as I've done every other race. We got 2 weeks off now, so it's nice. But Interlagos is one of my favorite tracks. I don't know anyone who doesn't love that track. Done a lot of laps there, so looking forward to it. And again, just going to take it turn by turn, just focus on the race, and then see what happens at the end.
Absolutely. And Rob, I'm going to wish you the best of luck. Get some good practice, and hopefully we can talk to you then.
Thanks, JP. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And that, Andrew, was Rob Rodriguez Jr., championship leader, 2nd place in this race. It's looking good.
It's definitely looking good to be Rob Rodriguez in this amateur class. It just is the class of the field right now. He is simply the class of the field right now. It doesn't matter what track it is. He's always in the top 5 at the very least, if not winning the last couple of weeks. Just Car 66 is far and away the best overall driver right now in this amateur class. And Scott Reister, if you're listening, I have your new Pro-Am contender to replace Bryce Rodriguez after this season. It's his father, Rob Rodriguez. They're going to have to share a race, it seems, next season around. Just so good. Great season here from Rob Rodriguez. Consistency has definitely been key. Let's go ahead and go through our race results quickly, JP. Here's your top 10.
So Dave Stevenson is going to end up winning race number 1. I was going to say, Andrew, BSR is definitely getting to me. He's going to win the amateur race here at VIR ahead of Rob Rodriguez, our championship leader, who not got gifted, but overtook 3 people on the final lap. That's absolutely crazy. Bobby Fleck is going to end up finishing 3rd ahead of Mike Braun. Blaine Sparling is going to finish in 5th place ahead of Elias Speaker, the car number 6, finishing in 6th place. Diego Era is going to finish in 7th for the car 77. Sonny Brown is going to finish in 8th place after the final lap mistake. William Coffey is going to finish in 9th, and Braden Kencott 10th place.
Finishing 11th, that is the car 268 of Scott Angelo from Radness. Marco Garcia goes 12th position this evening with, you can see, Clarence Rosa in that 13th position. 14th, you'll find Avon Dorsey in car 7, 15th John Groom, 16th Dominic Angelicchio, ahead of guys like Zach Rosar, Kerry Corcoran, Austin Hodzel, and James Colborn that round out your top 20.
21st place goes the way of Nicholas Kais. Sean Patterson is going to finish in 22nd, ahead of Brendan Levier. Philip Berdicker is going to finish in 24th, the last driver to finish on the lead lap. Joshua Lyon is going to finish 25th, ahead of Kenneth Michael. Adolfo Perez is going to finish 27th, ahead of Joshua Benjamin, Joshua Tucker, and T. Gashburn.
Finishing 31st, well, it's just one car and Brian Long on this panel of cars. 31 cars this evening. Unfortunately, Brian Long, the worst of them, 21 laps down. To say the worst of them, the worst finishing of them anyways. Had a great run going and had a big incident out of turn 1 and through turn 2. Certainly not the run that he wanted this evening, but that is our amateur race done and dusted, JP. Fantastic stuff here from VIR. I think certainly earning its place on the schedule, Scott Reister. I'm going to keep getting after you about it. This VIR should be on more league schedules, more season schedules on the iRacing official service. It's just such a good racetrack. It gives you these battles that we've seen this evening. Sure, sometimes you have dull rounds here where you just have one driver that's better than the rest, but that's how racing goes sometimes. Your amateur race out of the way, Pro-Am race coming up. We'll be right back here at PitStopTV with more action from the virtual VIR.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
SoundArt introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. SoundArt ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
Welcome back to the virtual Virginia International Raceway in the virtual Alton, Virginia. That amateur race, second to none. Easily, I think the best amateur race we've seen this season. At least the best finish. Maybe not the best race, but the best finish by far, JP. Fantastic stuff through and through. And now we get to see if the pros can do it over again. 22 of them checked in this evening, so a little bit less than the amateur guys. But I think we're going to have some good battles regardless.
Oh, absolutely. The amateur race was just spectacular, Andrew. This race I think is going to be more of the same. You're going to have quite a few drivers on the same level of pace. Qualifying is going to be intense. The race should be even more.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a really good one this evening. Maybe more of a strategy race here for the pros. I think that is certainly in order as we get ready for racing. Let's go ahead and bring it in and check out qualifying as these guys are getting underway. I really do think this will be one of our stereotypical strategy races that we see with the pros, but that's not a bad thing at a place like VIR. That's actually maybe a good thing. We get to see these guys really do their work here and just get around this place. It's an art getting around VIR successfully, and we'll see guys like Andre Melchers and Gustavo Ariel do it. Already a couple of BMWs. Let's go through our car selection process first. Fabio Zamperlini going to a Porsche this week. Roberto Carmo out there in a Porsche as well. Rodrigo Laprie in a BMW. John Sedlak in an Audi, and Martin Crisp in an Audi.
And it looks like we have a few. Mike Albrecht in a BMW. It looks like a German Cup so far yet. Juan Blanat in an Audi. Are we going to see a Ferrari? Marco Nunes in an Audi. Clyde Cena training here. Brian Zinn in a Porsche. Blake Scott in a BMW. There we go. Eric Thompson, a Ferrari. At least one of them gone for the Italian, the prancing horse. He's going to start his lap right here. The number 218, we're going to have to see what he's going to put in. And Andrew, the thing that I love, obviously, about all these races is seeing the precision that these drivers have to put out the laps. Normally, the Pro and Pro-Am qualifying, they're normally decided by sometimes thousands of a second. So it's really, a game of precision around here. And it's just so fun to watch these cars going around. Andre Melchers obviously running his BMW. That black paint looking as menacing as ever. We're going to have to wait and see what he's going to put in for his lap.
Aaron Folkert's out here this evening, has not made many starts, but he's out there for, is that Beast? Oh, wow, Beast Racing. I've not seen one of those liveries in a while, but good to see Beast out there. Beast Racing, that is very cool. Beast Esports, Beast Racing, I forget exactly what it is, but all right, fair enough. Out there in a BMW, Mitchell Ian Green in a Ferrari, Mark McDonald also in a Ferrari, those guys' teammates, those chrome Ferraris it looks like. Justin Sang in a BMW, Lucas Souza in a Ferrari, Paulo Godai back in his Porsche from last week. Interesting change there. Mark Scott in a BMW. Scott Kimbrough in an Audi. And the last car in the field, JP, what do you want to bet that Bryce Rodriguez is in this evening?
BMW. I got it wrong. I'm happy that I got that wrong.
The Italians have gotten you wrong, or have bested you. Anyways, you get the point. Bryce Rodriguez out there in, of course, a Ferrari 488 Evo. I think with Evolution Racing on your car, you have to run one of the cars that has Evo in the name.
I was just gonna mention his YouTube channel is Bryce Evolution, isn't it, as well? So it kind of all fits together in a nice conspiracy theory. Looking at the points right now, Andrew, it's quite close, isn't it? 1 point between Gustavo and Juan. Andre 10 points behind. That's our championship battle on the pro side. Looking on the Pro-Am side, 27 points between Paulo and Reed. It's looking good for Paulo, but I don't think it's set in stone just yet.
I would err on the other side of that. I think Paulo Godai has just about got this thing wrapped up. I don't see Reed Gibson in the field, to be entirely honest with you. Unless I'm overlooking him like I've done before, I don't see Reed Gibson in the field tonight. As you see Gustavo Ariel go to the top of the board. Juan Blanat doesn't have a time in just yet. We'll see what the Rincon Racing 89 has in store, but it's going to take a miracle for Reed Gibson, John Sedlak, anybody to do anything to Paulo Godai. He's just so far away. But on the pro side, you already talked about it. Gustavo Ariel, 1 point back of Juan Blanat, who goes across the line now. Where does he go? He goes nowhere. An off track that first lap. But Juan, of course, with the advantage. Gustavo second, 1 point back. And Andre Melchers was qualified nowhere so far. He's also, actually, he hasn't even finished his first lap. He is 10 points out. Hunter McDaniel not going to challenge for this championship, I don't think. Much like John Sedlak, just a little ways too far out of it. In fact, they're the same distance to their leaders. And in the same boat as Reed Gibson, I don't see Hunter in the field tonight. So really, you're looking only down to third in pro, and I'm not sure we can have a battle in Pro-Am right now. Paulo Godai is just too good.
Yeah, Palagadai is, I mean, on a class of his own. And as long as he scores some good points, he's going to be in a good position. Now looking to Juan Blanad, the championship leader. He's got quite a big task, Andrew. The driver who's only 1 point behind him is currently in pole position, provisional pole. So really, really tricky qualifying session for him. A lot of pressure on his shoulders. He needs to deliver it.
Gustavo down the back stretch. Looks like on a slower lap here, he's not at full song at all. Maybe a cool down lap to bring the tires down to temp but still burn some fuel. I like it. Marcos Nunez went second after going first. And there's Andre Melcher showing up for qualifying now. Goes to the top of the board. Will burn a lap here with his toe, it looks like. And we'll go ahead and get back out there for lap number 3. Where does Juan go here? He's into the back end of the lap. He's through roller coaster now. No, he's actually at a hog pen.
Yeah, just finishing up his lap. Currently, no time set. This is going to be a good benchmark to see where he's going to line up. 144.696. That's good enough for
second.
Interesting. And only Andrew, 8 thousandths of a second quicker than Gustavo.
Very close there for second and third. Gustavo in the exact same spot on the racetrack as him as well. And they're both on lap number 3, so we're going to find out at the exact same time which one of these two starts ahead of the other. But as we've seen, first usually is at a disadvantage after lap number 1, so whoever's leading after this first lap, and it's usually the pole sitter, usually at a disadvantage for the rest of the day. We've seen that time and time again, so if you're Andre Melchers, maybe don't even go out there and sit in a lap at pace, trying to let one of these other guys beat you.
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. I'm pretty sure he wants the pole position, Andrew. I mean, we all do. It's going to be tricky to save fuel, obviously, as you mentioned, on the lead, but we're going to have to wait and see what the strategy will be for him. Excuse me. Juan Blaney, it looks like he took quite maybe a water line on the
he's burning this lap. He's burning this lap.
Done. Do you think he has? I don't think he has time to go around anymore. So that might be his qualifying.
Well, no, and that was his third lap, anyways. That's it. These guys are both on their final lap. Andre Melchers will have one more attempt once he makes it back to the start-finish line. Bruno Do Carmo is through his laps. Marcos Nunez is on lap number 2, so he'll have one more attempt after this. Mike Galbraith goes 12th. The focus, though, easily Gustavo Ariel and where he qualifies.
Yeah, it's just going to be the lap that he needs. I mean, he needs a strong lap at least to beat Juan to get that track position. Exiting hog pen now, foot flat to the floor. There you go. He's going to be pushing it to the line of 144.703 to beat. He goes up 144.6.
Is that going to stand? It usually adjusts. Second. Ooh. Yes.
18 thousandths away from pole. Very close, but he beats Juan Blanad, which is exactly what he needs. Now this guy,
oh my goodness, playing the time perfectly.
Yeah, this is like Formula 1 qualifying session. He's just gonna have enough time to do this lap, and either way he does it, Andrew, he already has pole position nailed.
Yeah, I'm not sure he would want to even go for it. I think honestly, let this guy take a shot. Marcos Nunez on his final lap. He's in Oak Tree now. What can Marcos do with his qualifying run?
Oh,
in an Audi. Oh, and that's way wide. That lap invalidated for sure.
That's it. That's done for him. He's maybe just gonna try to finish the lap to see what could have been, to see if he improves. But Andrew, I'm quite interested in Paulo Godoy. Andrew, that's not a good qualifying session for him. Not what we're used to. Yeah,
that's off track. That's it, over.
And luckily for him, Andrew, as you mentioned, his championship contender is not there. We are not seeing Reed Gibson on the race so far.
His next closest is this guy, John Sedlak, and that's 33 points. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, no. Unless John wins, I mean, a clean race, fastest lap, I don't think that gap is going to be coming down. Marco Nunez is going to finish his final lap. Obviously, he was invalidated. He wasn't going to improve anyway due to that mistake, so he's going to start in 4th place. Now, Melchers, can he improve his lap, Andrew?
See what he can do up over roller coaster now. I don't know. I think Andre's in a weird spot here. He might want to just give the lead up at some point, and it might happen in these early laps. But usually Gustavo, Juan, Marcos, they know the fuel game. They know to sit back. But here we go, the run of the line for Andre Melchers, and he is going to give it up. He's going to give up that lap. Does not want to go any faster. I wonder where he was tracking there, because at that point as well, if you're tracking slower, there's no point in finishing the lap. You may as well just go ahead and stop. I really do wonder where he was tracking with that qualifying lap. But hey, up onto the staging grid as we get ready for 50 minutes of Pro-Am action from VIR. A quick look here at the track map, JP. What is the focus corner for you, having seen the amateur race go down?
That's an interesting one. A hot pen, I think. I mean, we saw, I think, you know, because we saw some drivers going wide, especially in the lead battle, and we saw, I mean, Sony Brown getting some really good runs out of 17A, just, you know, enough, 17, sorry, to just upset the leader enough. But, you know, if you're on the outside, it's really difficult to overtake down into turn number 1, Andrew. But I'm gonna say, after the final lap, again, roller coaster. That was a tricky corner. On the final lap, we saw what happens if you carry a bit too much speed, and it can really cost you.
I think I'm going to have to go with turns 1 and Oak Tree. Turn 1, one of your best passing opportunities, of course, here at VIR. Oak Tree, maybe a good passing opportunity, but it's so important. And it's really not a passing zone, but you can set somebody up for it. It's so important, though, because of the run onto the backstretch, of course. It gives you that run headed towards the roller coaster. That makes your lap. I mean, that is such a crucial corner to set up your lap and set up the next lap as well, to get you into a good rhythm, make sure you're feeling good on you know how you exited Oak Tree, and get you onto the next lap feeling all right. And of course, these draft battles, if we have them, it's just so important to have a good run out of Oak Tree. And to go back to turn 1, I think we saw more issues there than any other corner. Really 1, 2, and 3 is where we saw most of our problems throughout the course of the throughout the course of the amateur race. And I think that'll be replicated here in this Pro-Am race, at least to a point. So we'll see how things go. But let's go ahead and meet our starting grid for our Pro-Am race. On pole, it is the German. That's the results. You know what? We'll figure this out one day. Andre Melchers, the German, on pole here at VIR. Gustavo Ariel will roll off from second place. He's one of our focus drivers this evening. Gustavo, 1 point behind this man, Juan Blanett in car 89. That is your pole, or your championship battle. And even Andre Melchers, your top 3 are your championship battle. That is exactly how you want it here when we get down to the nitty-gritty of the season. Andre Melchers, 10 points back of Juan Blanett. Gustavo Ariel, 1 point back of Juan Blanett. And Marcos Nunez, not quite in the picture. He will start 4th. Starting 5th, it's Bruno DeCarmo, teammate to Gustavo Ariel. We'll see how that works out this evening. And starting in the 6th position, your Pro-Am pole sitter, Scott Kimbrough, in car 177. Martin Crisp rolls off 7th, Mark McDonald 8th, and your back row of the top 10, it's Mitchell Ian Green and Justin Sang.
11th place, we're going to have Bryce Rodriguez in the number 24, and the number 37 of Fabio Zamperlini is going to start alongside of him in 12th place. 13th place in row number 7. On the inside line, we're going to have Blake Scott alongside him, Mike Galbraith in the 14th spot. And row number 8, there you go. Rodrigo Lepri and Paulo Godoy for an all Brazilian row over there. John Sadleck's on the lineup 17th, and Pierre Thompson on 18th. And row number 10, Andrew, we're gonna have the drivers of the name Aaron Falkerts. That's a new name, if I'm not mistaken. And Lucas Souza is gonna line up 20th.
2 more cars in the field. Mark Scott and Brian Zinn will line up 21st and 22nd. So as we get ready for Pro-Am racing from VIR, big thank you to all our partners here with the North American Racing League, of course, top of the list, Racelab.app. And, you know, the best thing I think about each of these partners is they put together giveaways for each of the drivers in this series, or at least opportunities for giveaways. I think you have to run 6 of 8 races to be eligible, something like that. It's even Tony Kanaan was eligible for one in the Porsche Cup Series. They put together really fantastic giveaways for these drivers. And so even if you don't come out with a championship, JP, there's plenty of reason to keep racing and make yourself eligible. Racelab.app exactly within that category, as well as Radness, Tam Livery, and JS Consulting, all doing so much for the North American Racing League. And we checked in with the weather right before the amateur race earlier. Let's go ahead and do that one more time as we work on through Oak Tree. There you have it, 77.5 degrees in the air. I think a little bit cooler, isn't it, than the amateur race in the air, but 103 degrees on the track. That's going to feel the exact same as the amateurs.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, 1 degree Fahrenheit is not really going to shake up a whole lot of difference. The winds, Andrew, do you think they're going to play a big part? 7 miles per hour, I don't think they're too significant. If there was 30 miles an hour, the S's would definitely be a fun spot to be at, but I don't think they're going to play too much of a part. But now, Andrew, pace lap is almost done, as we're pretty much in the middle of the back straightaway. Do you think some drivers are getting a bit nervous? Do you think Juan is a bit nervous? Gustavo, maybe?
Yeah, I think definitely nerves are going to be rising for these drivers. You mentioned the wind. I want to get back to that for a second. That's out of the southwest, out of the west-southwest. That is across the backstretch. If it's going to impact these guys anywhere, it's likely going to be into the braking zone for turn 1. They're going to catch that wind under their rear wing in a really awkward way, so that absolutely it could upset the handling under braking. That's if it gets to gusting. At 3 miles an hour, 4 miles an hour like this, even up to 7, it's not going to do a whole lot. Now a gust, 7, 8, maybe 9 miles an hour, maybe it does something. But even so, I don't think it'll be too much of a factor this evening as we get ready for racing from VIR. You can see Barney the Flagman ready to go for this one. 50 minutes of action now on the way for the pros and pro-ams. It is round number 7 of 8 in the North American Racing League, and we're off and away racing at VIR. Through NASCAR Bend and into left hook now. Our field of 21, 22 still rolling. No issues yet.
No issues yet. You can see the whole field making their way now through the lower S's. Everybody single file through this race, this part of the racetrack, Andrew. No issues. Good to see everyone else making their way safely through this. And it's a good close single file. You can see one car. Maybe we're going to see him move over there, but it looks like they do back off. This is a good, amazing shot right here.
Up over South Bend to Oak Tree. The branches of the tree now, and we can follow them out of the corner as well. Love these cameras. Headed up the backstretch over Madison Avenue now, and the field is still in a line. Mark Scott, admittedly, quite a ways off of the leaders. He's 18 seconds behind the leaders, 8 seconds off of Lucas Souza in 21st, but otherwise, the field in a nice cohesive line. This is cool to see. One battle there, Bryce Rodriguez, contact!
No.
Bryce Rodriguez and Mitchell Ian Green over roller coaster, in trouble, and they will drop way down the order. Rodriguez there, Mitchell Ian Green ahead of him a little bit, now falls back behind. Otherwise, a clean first lap.
Yeah, absolutely. Drivers taking a bit easier. Really good to see. I just saw, I think it was Bruno Ducarmo maybe challenging Nunez down into turn number 1, but you can see the rest of the field making their way through the start-finish line, and we're going to see Bryce Rodriguez quickly on the last part, but you can see these two, Andrew, very close. Bruno and Nunez, 2 different cars, and you can see Bryce Rodriguez unfortunately coming down the pit lane to serve, maybe to serve, I think just to get his car fixed.
You mentioned Bruno De Carmo working on Marcos Nunez. This is for position 4. On board with Marcos, and that was Gustavo Ariel out in the grass. Loses a spot there to Juan Blanat. That is big for the championship.
That is massive. He was in a position to maybe take over the championship lead. A big wobble right there. And he's going to be losing quite a bit of time, Andrew. He's already 0.7 of a second behind Blanat. He needs to get himself back together, compose himself, and get that gap closed up. But that was a big scare early on for him.
Here we go. Andre Melcher is going to allow Juan Blanat to go by, and that might even be a slowdown for Andre. Or is he playing the fuel game? Is he getting in behind? I think he's playing the game.
Yeah, he's just going to, really quickly gets behind Gustavo. So is he just going to let the 2 championship contenders battle it out and try to take advantage of it? And now, unfortunately, Juan Blanat is going to be in a compromised situation, Andrew. Yep. We saw this in Charlotte.
Sim has just stopped for me here. But Juan Blanat, taking over the lead. We might have to take a quick break here. That has not happened before. That is odd. But we'll go ahead and we will try and get this sorted out as quickly as possible and get you a live picture here in just a few moments. Bear with us. Welcome back, as we do rejoin you here at VIR. Not sure what happened there. That wasn't even a connection issue. That was iRacing crashing on us. But we're back, and Juan Blanat leading the way into turn number 1. It looks like it's his turn 1. I believe so. As Gustavo Ariel picks up that second spot, and JP would pick up right back where we left off. Kind of. As Gustavo Ariel has that second spot, Andre Melcher's third, Marcos Nunez fourth, Bruno De Carmo fifth, Martin Crisp sixth. Not much has changed. Even Kimbrough still leading in Pro-Am over McDonald and Sang. Zan Perlini completes your top 10. What I'm worried about here for Juan Blanat is what I think we're already worried about. Everybody's worried about here. He's leading. You don't want to be leading in these races. Now, it looks like, at the very least, Gustavo and Andre might not be able to save much fuel, but I still don't know if I want to be leading right now.
No, I don't think you want to, Andrew. And you raise a good point. The gap he's building to Gustavo, it either means Gustavo just doesn't have the pace early on, and the Audi seems to be a better race car in this stage of the race, or I don't know, but it's weird to see.
Oh, there it is! Gustavo out into the wall in Oak Tree. That, I think, might be it for this race. If Juan Blanat keeps his car on track, oh boy. He's out of the draft range. Andre can't save fuel. He's got to back up to Marcos Nunez if he wants to. And Gustavo Ariel, oh my goodness.
Andrew, since he joined the championship, I don't think we've seen a
single
single
mistake.
mistake
This is the first time we've seen multiple mistakes happen ever.
Yeah. I don't recall, seeing him with mistakes. I mean, if you remember, I think it was, Red Bull Ring, who just led the whole race confidently, no issues. And that this race, since lap 2, we've seen him struggle. The car just doesn't seem to be on his foot. And right now, a big mistake here on Oak Tree. You're just going to see him exiting South Bend in a second right here. And he's going to line himself up for the braking zone and gets it all out of shape. He just carries a bit too much speed. He hits that apex, but then, the car just gets out of him.
I think he got the curbing on the left side there. Let's get another look at it. I think he gets the curbing on the left side. That is huge.
That is really, really huge for him. And that's going to cost him so much on the championship. He's currently sitting in 7th place, while his the championship leader, the guy who's only 1 point ahead of him, is, first place. And you're going to see him.
Yeah, it was a little backwards in the rear. I think maybe a little bit of rear brake bias bringing the car around, and then it just walks out to the curbing there on the left side, and it goes quickly south for him in this race. He's down to 7th.
And you know what that could have been, Andrew? A championship costing mistake.
Yes. I think it definitely could be. There's still a lot to be done here. Even if he drops down to about the same gap that Melchers has had, he and Melchers can still win. If the gaps hold as they are currently, he and Melchers can easily still get the championship next week in Brazil, but it's going to be tougher because Juan is getting max points today at the very least. Maybe not max, not getting the pole, but max race paying points, and Andre's behind him. Gustavo's down there in 7th. It's looking great right now to be Juan Blanat. And we had just mentioned maybe he doesn't want to lead. Now he's in the perfect position. Nobody's close to him. Yes, Andre can still play the fuel game on him and get ahead, leapfrog through the pit lane, but it's going to be a lot tougher.
No, it's just going to be barely impossible. 2 seconds. Melchers is punching the air just as much as Blanat is, so they both are going to be allowing themselves to save a little bit of fuel, and Andrew having that 2-second buffer is really going to allow him to, if he needs, push a little bit, and he can be a little bit safer on the fuel stop. So this is a perfect position for the number 89. He's doing everything he can, and I guess 3rd place in qualifying seems to be the best place to start because he's now leading, and that's exactly where he needs to be. Now, if you're Gustavo, Andre is your best friend. You need the number 25 to pass Blanat and, take away that victory from him.
Somehow, some way, yeah, you're absolutely right. He needs Andre Melchers to get up there and conquer the 2-second gap that is currently between he and Juan Blanat. Now, if you're Marcos Nunez, what role do you play in this race? Do you sit back here and just try and leapfrog Andre and hope that maybe you can save enough fuel to maybe even leapfrog Juan? That's 3 seconds of fuel in the pit lane. Now, of course, that could be 3 seconds and just getting on and off of the pit lane that you make up, but it's still 3 seconds you've got to try and make up through a pit stop. That's going to be tough.
Oh, yeah, that's really tough to get. Obviously, it's not going to be a 3-second difference in the pit stop. It could be lower, but it's just going to, if he wants to do that, it's going to be a massive gamble on fuel. and I don't think it'll work. He's currently in the perfect position to jump Melkers at least, if he can get close enough, and obviously if he is saving, as Gustavo looks like makes his way through Scott Kimbrough. I don't think Scott battled too hard, Andrew. I think he realized the big picture. It's not really his race. He currently sits 2 seconds ahead of Justin Sang, so there's no point in holding off a guy who's definitely going to be on a charge in the next few laps. And now the question is, Andrew, does Gustavo shake up that all those mistakes that he did on the first 10, 15, no, 13 minutes of the race? Or, I mean, are those mistakes going to plague him throughout this race?
My question is this car driving straight? Oh, and Paulo Goddai, problems. In the wall in Hogpen, it looks like. The car looks okay. I do think Gustavo's car is okay as well, but Paulo Goddai, Pro-Am points leader around at Hogpen. That is huge.
That is absolutely huge. And Andrew, something has happened to the Brazilians this race. This is the second one to have trouble. And this looks like it's heading into roller coaster. We're going to have to wait and see what happens through roller coaster.
Oh, sideways there.
The car just kind of loses itself a little bit. He catches the car. And then something else is going to happen here. This is Hogpen. Uses a bit of the curb. Nothing happens. Oh, weird.
Just comes right around on him. Parks it right in front of our camera, gets back rolling, gets the wall a little bit, but no damage to speak of for car 193. Meanwhile, there's been an issue recently for Aaron Folkerts. He's racing 132 rather. See what happens here to the BMW. He's already got a little bit of damage, it looks like, on the nose of that car. Gets off in the grass into braking. I think was trying to let Bryce Rodriguez go by and then comes to a stop and will tow back to the pits.
Really unfortunate to see the number 132 with that mistake. Cutting back to live pictures now, Andrew. Well, I mean, if you're Juan Blanat, you're in the best seat of the house. I mean, you have everything going towards you. And look at this. I think the only 3 Ferraris in the race are in one shot.
Not the only 3, I don't think, but close to it is Bryce Rodriguez, Lucas Souza, and Mitchell Ian Green are all back here. Rodriguez just got this spot. And up ahead, John Sedlak is working with Mike Galbraith. This is for 10th. So John Sedlak could have a top 10 run going here as he's just gotten by Mark McDonald that last lap. This could be a fun battle.
I think this will be a fun battle, actually, to keep an eye out for. One Audi, I think, chasing a BMW, if I'm not mistaken. Looks like they're going through. This is NASCAR band and now into left hook. And Andrew, after all those mistakes, we had a pretty much top 10 with only 2, I think, Pro-Am drivers. Now the top 10 is pretty much almost an even split between Pro and Pro-Am.
Yeah, if you notice, Fabio Zamperlini, who was 10th along for the early portions of this race, the first 10 minutes, has dropped down to 15th. So problems there for Fabio. And, of course, Bryce Rodriguez fell off. Mitchell Ian Green, they haven't really been here today. But really, I think the big one to note is absolutely Fabio Zamperlini. I wonder when he had his issue, actually. I wonder if we can find it. And you know what? It wasn't all that long ago. Let's see if we can find this one more time. Let's see. Where is he at? Where is he registered at here? So he's 10th at this point in time. But he's already behind Rodrigo Lapri. So it happens in Sector 1, it looks like, of this lap. And let's see. Yeah, I think it's Sector 1. We'll get a look here. Because he's following... That is Blake Scott just ahead of him at this point in time. We've seen the Porsches be very difficult to handle today. And I mean, even in Discord chat... Oh, right there.
Oh.
Even in Discord chat, some of the guys that drove the Porsche in the amateur race saying sometimes you drive the Porsche, sometimes Porsche drives you.
Yeah, but that time, it was nothing to do with the Porsche. Unfortunately, just clipping the grass on entry, and unfortunately, that's all she wrote. So, unfortunately for Fabio, that was a small mistake. We're going to take a look at on board to see just the game of fine margins, Andrew. He's just going to just barely clip the grass. You're going to see on the next report. You can see the car getting quite a bit loose over there. Tries to get the cars to the right side to get the perfect line, but unfortunately, a mistake. Does a good job reversing and waiting for his turn to rejoin the racetrack, but that was a lot of positions he lost.
And the fact that he didn't even steer into the slide tells me he absolutely felt defeated as soon as it happened. Just disbelief that it went around. I don't think from that angle, it didn't even look like he got out to the grass. So absolutely some disbelief there from Fabio Zamperlini that he just went around. As here's second and third, Andre Melchers and Marcos Nunez. Let's go on board with Nunez here.
And yeah, Marcos now really closed up that gap, Andrew. Remember, it was 9/10 of a second. Now 4/10. Now he's in a good position to try and fuel save. And you can see he's just closing in, and the gap keeps fluctuating, but he's in a good position to maybe just try to leapfrog Melchers. It's going to be a big
Andre
task.
was only 2 seconds behind Juan earlier when Gustavo lost the lead. Now it's 3.
Oh, so yeah, Melchers is struggling a little bit as well. So I wonder, Andrew, could it be the BMW struggling against the race pace of the Audis?
Could it be fuel saving? Well, I mean, 5th gear to turn 1. That seems odd for Andre here, but 5th gear into the corner. Oh, man, it looks like the rear is dancing on throttle.
Yeah, maybe the hot track temperatures, Andrew. Remember, it was 104, right? Maybe that's playing against the BMWs today, because 109 now. So yeah, so we saw Gustavo having issues, which we haven't seen. Now we're seeing Melcher struggling to keep up pace, which we haven't seen throughout the season. Interesting to say the least. And you can see Bruno actually has dropped off quite a bit from Marcos Nunez as well.
Very curious issues here for Andre Melchers. Would not have expected him to be this far off pace of Juan Plana at this stage of the race. And I say off pace, the laps are still close, but certainly losing time. You can see the gap. It's still right around the 3-second mark. It fluctuates. Some corners it'll close in because of the way iRacing registers that. In some corners it'll extend. On the straightaway it certainly extends, going up to 3 seconds, and there it goes over 3 seconds. So some ebb and flow to the gap, but he has lost a lot of time. As Gustavo Ariel here works on Martin Crisp. This is for 5th on the racetrack.
It's a good battle right here, and we're gonna see Gustavo already looking down the inside, and he closed up that gap, Andrew, and he's wasting no time in making that move. Yeah, good pass alongside and get the car slowed down. Now he's up into 5th place. Luckily for him, Andrew, the next car ahead is his teammate. So, I mean, we can speculate all we want, but I don't think this is going to be too difficult. The full-time esports drivers seem to help out each other out, so I don't think the battle for 4th place will really be a battle.
And all things considered, this is still a good day for Gustavo. Remember, it could have been a whole lot worse with that contact at Oak Tree. He's only down in 5th place right now. He's still going to get a top 5, and sure, he might lose 5-6 points to Juan tonight if things go as they are, but if he's able to get to Bruno, maybe he cushions out a little bit, doesn't lose quite as much. Should stay ahead of Andre. And that's all still 30 minutes away. We still have a lot of racing to go. Pit stops, lap traffic. This is not at all over just yet for Gustavo. This is not panic mode. I know we kind of went into panic mode. We hyped it up. But this is not panic mode yet for car 15.
Yeah, it turns out to be, as you mentioned, Andrew, not as terrible as it could have been. That could have easily been a race-ending mistake. Luckily for him, he was able to rejoin in 7th. Got the positions back. Now currently 5th. Currently looking at probably a safe 4th place at the moment. And who knows? Maybe the drivers ahead will close up once again to each other, and battle could be looking at a top 2. But I think a top 4, 4th place is definitely safe for him.
So Gustavo going to try and reel in his full-time esports teammate. Let's check back in on 2nd place as Andre Melchers holds that position down, but Marcos Nunez is still close. I definitely think the Audi's faster, but Marcos trying to save fuel here. I'm going to be honest, if I'm Marcos, I try and find a place to pass finally. You've been held up by over a second at this point. Go out there and try and get this spot as we've got some action further back in the field as, one car is off. Brian Zinn is off into Oak Tree. Problems there for the Porsche.
And I wonder, Andrew, if you just carry a bit too much speed and just got loose on the exit of, what is that corner just behind Oak Tree? The South Bend. There you go.
Go ahead and buy yourself a lottery ticket, potentially. Watch this one. I got a preview of it. Just watch.
So this is the upper S's, and he's going to head into South Bend. And did he? Oh, just got a... Oh, no, he got loose. Though.
Well, but he carried too much speed and the rear came around. That's perfectly right.
All right, so 75%. There you go. I'll take that. Do you win something in the lottery if you hit 75% of the numbers?
You know, I don't know. But here is Rodrigo Lapri, car 182. Rodrigo, one of the 8 Pro-Am drivers in a line from Kimbrough back through him in 14th. So 7th through 14th, 8 Pro-Am cars, and Rodrigo here ahead of his team owner, Fabio Zamperlini. Chasing down Pierre Thompson. What can he do?
We're going to have 20C now coming up to the upper S's engine. This is where we just saw the mistake. I doubt we're going to see it again because that mistake was under pressure, but Rodrigo definitely trying to make up a few positions, definitely wants to make up a few positions, and try to get himself up into the top 10. Seems quite a big task, but first things first, he needs to get past Thompson just ahead. Looks like a wiggle from the back end of the Ferrari. I don't think the BMW is too close, but definitely was going to be close enough to apply quite a bit of pressure.
Pierre Thompson up over Madison Avenue, losing a little bit of time here. Draft certainly playing into this one. And this again would be for 13th position if Rodrigo can get there. Up over Roller Coaster. Rodrigo closes in a little bit. Here a little bit wide, but hangs on to the spot certainly for now. Oh, that looked like it was going to be wide at the exit of Hog Pen, but maybe just losing a little bit of time. Rodrigo should have a chance to close in.
Yeah, and you can see the Ferrari already going a bit defensive. He knows he's on the back foot. I don't think it's going to be close enough. Yeah, Rodrigo's not going to be close enough to make a move on this lap. But, you know, he's applying pressure, Andrew, and that's sometimes all you need just to force the driver ahead to maybe carry a bit more speed into turn number 1. And we saw plenty of drivers making mistakes and just washing off wide. And but looks like there's going to be no dice this time around for Rodrigo. And that just Andrew at this point, either he goes to the pits and tries to go for an undercut, or he just keeps on applying pressure and just waits for an opportunity.
Through the lower S's, Rodrigo just kind of setting himself up. If there's a mistake out of Pierre Thompson, he gets that spot. I mean, that's half of the battle here at VIR, is just getting yourself into position in order to take advantage of other drivers' mistakes. And really, half of the passing that you do here is done through just forcing a mistake out of the driver ahead. And you might even see this with Justin Sang and Blake Scott. A good day going for Blake, by the way. In the top 10 for one of the first times all season. We have not seen much out of Blake yet in Season 3, but a good day of production here for car 167.
Yeah, a really good day for him. And he's definitely going to be happy. He's definitely going to be challenging Sang. I don't think it's going to be close enough, but this time around, he's definitely going to look to the inside. This is going to be close between those two. Sang kind of just keeps his place. Does he slow down the car? Yes, he does. But Andrew, we definitely have a race for second place in the Pro-Am.
This for 8th on the racetrack, 2nd in class. Scott Kimbrough 4 seconds ahead of these guys, and certainly battles like that will cost them some time. Mike Galbraith working on John Sedlak. A very similar situation for these two as the driver's just ahead. Sang down to turn 1, holding on to that spot. Blake Scott in again, just a really good opportunity to try and take the second spot away and show that he's made of some racing material. As here we go, Rodrigo into the pit lane.
Oh, so there you go. So is he listening to us? Is he going for another cut early? This is going to be interesting to see, and we're going to have a preview right now, Andrew, of the pit timer. And
well, and he is just past halfway here. This is perfectly on schedule, I feel like.
I mean, definitely the pit window has been open for quite a bit of time, and you can see 20.1. This is interesting. A 10-minute longer race, but pit stops 9 seconds longer.
Yeah, we saw that last week, though, even. We've seen that, I think, consistently this season where pit times are definitely a big adjustment. It's difficult for us to imagine that only 10 minutes of racing is that much fuel, but especially in a place as on throttle as VIR, long backstretch that these guys are working down right now. I can imagine it here as Marcos Nunez follows Andre Melchers up over the roller coaster. It's now a 4-second gap, by the way, between first and second. Juan Blainat with the advantage, almost 5 seconds, as Andre is slow through the roller coaster.
I mean, it's just so odd to see. You know, the gap 4.3 seconds, Andrew. And the gap was 1 point something at one point. And, you know, he's just losing quite a bit of time. And I think you can tell he's struggling. Marco Nunez, I think it's just biding his time. I think it's just saving fuel, and he's going to go for the safe approach on the pit lane. This is interestingly weird, I guess I can put it.
Is it not also fair to say, though, that Marcos understands that he's not in a battle for the points? He's Kind of just here to put a good race together, see what he can do, and have some fun. Maybe doesn't want to challenge Andre for exactly that reason. As here we go, Blake Scott's into the pit lane. Here Thompson will follow.
And we're gonna get a second confirmation about the pit stop times right now. It was 20, wasn't it, for Rodrigo? Blake Scott, we're gonna have to wait and see what he does. Bryce Rodriguez, not Robert Rodriguez. Bryce is gonna come down. Paulo as well. Getting quite busy.
And 19.85 seconds there. Pierre Thompson should be about the same. There's Mark Scott into the pit lane as well. 19.45 there for Pierre. Paulo Gadai just behind them. Should be a similar pit lane or pit box time. 18 seconds there for Paulo. 18, 19 and change, nearly 20 there for Bryce. And 18, 19 and change there for Mark Scott. So definitely around that 20-second mark.
Yeah, so I thought it was maybe a mistake, but clearly not. I think one guy who's definitely going to have a shorter stop is going to be the number 23. Keeping up pace with Andre, maybe just saving a little bit of fuel, Andrew. I don't think we can bet against him to finish second place.
It's going to be tough, though, to do anything with Juan Buena. A 5-second gap here, change. I just don't see how Marcos Nunez or Andre Melcher can catch him, but here we go. Might find out, as they're all three into the pit lane this lap.
Ooh, interesting. Now we're going to have the perfect, perfect excuse to see how their pit stops are going to compare, how the fuel levels compare. So, Juan Buena stops. Melcher is going to have the perfect, the first pit stall. There we go. Marcos Nunez stops just behind Juan Buena.
Gustavo is in. Bruno De Carmo. And let's see where Juan Buena exits. He was the first on. Wow, a 16.67. Andre Melcher's 16.62. Marcos Nunez 16.0. And he gets out just ahead of Andre Melcher's. What a pass.
We're going to have a race for second place right there.
Here we go, teammates.
Yeah, just a bit of flashing already. That's a bit of team orders in it. They work, but Bruno goes way wide.
Bruno De Carmo gets psyched out there by his teammate, but at least let his teammate go on through. Nicely done there. Not so nice that he's in the grass, but nicely done to let him go on by. Juan Buena, though, back in the race lead. Still 5 seconds to Marcos Nunez. As long as Juan doesn't put a foot wrong, and hey, let's knock on wood for him. Easy win, I think, for Juan, and this is a championship building kind of day. This is exactly what you have to do in round 7 of 8 when it's a 1-point gap. Go out there and execute. Give yourself the best chance you can. You can't control where Gustavo Auriel or Andre Melcher or any of those guys finish. Just go ahead and put yourself in first. You're doing everything right.
This is a championship winning drive so far from Juan. Faster than anyone else we've seen so far. And a bit of a mistake from Nunez. Just as he took the lead, he's going to lose the lead on this battle, I guess you can say. Just as he took second place, he's going to lose straight away. So unfortunately for the number 23, Andrew kind of cracked a little bit under pressure. And Melcher's, didn't need a second invitation, got on straight back on.
Just went wide there in Oak Tree, did Marcos Nunez, gives that spot up, and Andre Melcher's clear through to second. Melcher's still going to lose points, though. That's the crazy thing about that. He's having a great day, second place. I have to imagine, though, if he did drop himself out of the lead intentionally, if that wasn't a slowdown, that changes this entire championship. That alone changes this entire season. I mean, I really do think he was just playing the game. It was such a little bit of time that he gave up, let one car go on by, slided in behind him. Or no, he let two go by. He was in first, of course, put the car on pole, let Juan go, then let Gustavo go. I just can't believe that. I'd have to imagine that had to have been a slowdown, but it was such a small amount of time, JP. I hope we can talk to him. I really hope we can find out exactly what that was.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, me too, because it's so odd what we're seeing, Andrew. And, I mean, if it was strategy, I guarantee you, if he knew he was going to drop off this hard, I don't think he would have done it. So, it's just so it may have been a slowdown, but where did he get the slowdown from?
Great questions. Blake Scott has an issue. We were just hyping up Blake Scott before the pit lane, or before the pit stops, and unfortunately he has gone off and lost a couple of spots. Only down to 12th, though, so he was, fighting for 9th, and he's off again in NASCAR Bend. He's going to lose a spot here to Pierre Thompson, maybe. Rodrigo Laprie just behind as well. Problems here for Blake Scott. Does he have suspension damage, maybe? Saw him weaving a little bit there through turn 6. Gets back going to the lower S's, and maybe no issue for him. I see Bryce Rodriguez and Fabio Zampolini rather close together. These two for 16th and 17th. Fabio Zampolini, a former champion.
And, I mean, this has not been Fabio's season. I mean, we've touched it on this before, Andrew.
But maybe better than last season. I don't recall him being quite as good last season. He's had some shines of brilliance this time around.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of up and down, isn't it? Some races he's, I mean, kind of back where we think he should be, but some other races, you know, just mistakes here, mistakes there. It's kind of frustrating to see, you know, a champion struggling quite a bit, but I'm pretty sure he will get back on his feet. And who knows, maybe next season he's going to be battling with the top guys. That's definitely what we want to see.
Fabio Zampolini in the 17th position out of 22 cars. And only 19 left running. Lucas Souza in the pit lane, 2 laps down. Mitchell Ian Green, 9 laps down. And Aaron Folkerts has already left the building. In this case, left out in Virginia. Marcos Nunez, 3rd place, right where we've seen him most of the day. Not able to do anything, it looks like, with Andre Melchers. Here we go. A change for position deep in the field. Pierre Thompson. Oh, there we go. Contact and a crash. Into turn 3.
Just into NASCAR. So you can see Paulo Godoy now is going to take full advantage of that, and he's going to get 2 positions. But yeah, that's definitely not what we want to see, Andrew. 2 cars coming together, and I think they were just trying to share the same bit of tarmac, and that definitely did not work.
There's a move here from Rodrigo Lapri to get on by Pierre Thompson in turn 1. Pierre runs deep, and Rodrigo gets to the inside. Perfect, you know, opportunity there from Rodrigo to take advantage of that. And Pierre Thompson just holds his position barely on the inside there. Rodrigo tries to come over, and there's contact. And I'm going to be honest, JP, I think both of those drivers could have prevented that and both been better off for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just trying to gain one position and the other trying to defend. Ended up both losing, I think, 2 or 3 spots. And now we're going to take a look to see if, I don't know.
Rodrigo can leave more space there. And Pierre can absolutely just
Could
let Rodrigo take
off.
the corner.
Yeah.
He's got opportunity, still 15 minutes to battle back. That's a learning moment for both of those guys. Let the Wookiee win. You know, let that car go, get back after it, or let the car go up the inside maybe. You know, just, again, keep your race together and not jeopardize it like that. Now, right afterwards, we've had a big issue. I didn't want to yell it out, but Paulo Godoy has just had a problem, I think, through the upper S's, potentially, in his number 193 Porsche. And he is still maybe a little off pace. Yes, got the grass there. Regardless, he has gone around. Maybe south bend. Yeah, way out there. Wow.
What happened there?
I think he just missed the corner entirely. Oh my goodness.
That could have ended so much worse.
Wow.
Wow, indeed.
As great of a save that was, he needs maybe talk to a little bit about that rejoin. Obviously, it's not intentional. He was long for the ride, but you can't jeopardize somebody else's race. All right, let's watch this. So it's Rodrigo Lapri that he scares here in a moment, but Paulo catches grass there through the upper S's. What happens to him over South Bend? He just missed his turn in.
He just looks like he
Sleeping a little
goes
bit.
straight. And I think he has the brakes applied. Wow.
He might have, but maybe can steer a different direction. I know it's tough when you're along for the ride like that, but something, you know, that's just such a bad possibility that can happen. Let's see it one more time here. Let's actually watch this from Rodrigo's view the entire time. Maybe we can see if those brake lights are on when he comes back over. We can slow it down. It's off in the grass.
So you can see the Porsche. I'm pretty sure he's just watching and he's like, oh, no. And I think he's just, yeah, you can see him pretty much going to the middle of the road.
Those brake lights are on. Yeah, they weren't.
Oh, interesting.
Really scary. I'm glad there was no contact. And at that point, Paulo may have also realized if he clears the racetrack again in time, nobody's going to hit him. If he slows down, then maybe he might have been contact. So regardless, it's just not a great situation. We're just glad nobody was involved any further. Glad it wasn't worse. As Fabio Zampolini is way off pace. He might be trying to save fuel at this point. Might have also gotten a slowdown. Let's Paulo Godai go on by. We've talked a lot, though, JP, about our pro lead. How about our pro-am lead? Scott Kimbrough? He's just having a nice, quiet race. Seems like this is the day of the Audis, much like Long Beach.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's this kind of the same story we've had with the pro driver, the pro-am. Scott is just building that gap slowly but surely, and it's almost the same gap as Blaney has to Melcher. It's around nearly 5 seconds. He's doing a fantastic job, Andrew, just controlling the race. 12 minutes and 30 to go. I mean, that's all he needs to do.
And again, this is going to be a really good day for Juan Blanat. Scott Kimbrough, in his situation, I don't know that he really does anything in the championship. He might pass Mark McDonald, might get closer to John Sedlak and even Reed Gibson, but it's not going to be a championship kind of winning day in his Audi where it will be for Juan Blanat. This is really big for Juan, no doubt about it. Coming out here and dominating, pretty much handed the race lead on the backstretch into the roller coaster and has taken off running with it. Has not looked back, has kept his car on the racetrack with 12 minutes to go. No mistakes, knock on wood again. No mistakes, and just running a perfect race.
I mean, yes, and he's just creating that gap, still building that gap to Andre. I think he's in a position right now, Andrew, where he can just comfortably slow himself down.
Ooh.
And just control the pace as we have a switch up right here. As Kimbrough just got past Crisp.
So a pro-am, going by a pro for the first time that we've seen, at least in the top 10. And Martin Crisp down to the 7th position. He's still got plenty of time back to Justin Sang. It shouldn't be too much of an issue there for Martin. But does lose that one spot. You think Marcus Nunez put something here on Andre Melcher to try and get this spot here late in this race? And I mean, look at Gustavo Ariel. He is running. He is definitely trying to catch these guys at this point. I think Andre is just a little bit off pace today. Gustavo's closing in. I think Gustavo's got better pace, but less consistency than Andre Melcher's.
Maybe, yeah. You can see, obviously, the gap is closing up once again, Andrew. It's only 3 seconds between Melcher's and Ariel. And, I mean, Gustavo definitely lost more than 3 seconds when he made that mistake. So he's just pushing to the limit. I'm pretty sure he maybe he took more fuel in the pit stops. I guess you're going to be the man to confirm that. But, you know, he's just putting qualifying lap after qualifying lap, trying to close that gap. You can see 16.4 and Melcher's 17.2. So, no, he actually gambled a bit. So, maybe trying to close up to save? Interesting.
And Nunez took less fuel than both of them.
But Nunez was saving. And Gustavo was pushing the whole first stint, trying to make up. At least that's what I think, at least. But interesting games right here. We're going to have to wait until the final few laps to see if this bat worked or if he's going to run out of fuel.
Gustavo definitely had some opportunity to save in that first stint. Maybe not the opportunities he wanted to. Maybe not as much as he wanted to, but had opportunity to save nonetheless. So even after his issue, saved some fuel. And here you go. Martin Crisp has gotten back on by Scott Kimbrough for 6th position. So relegate your Pro-Am leader back down a spot. And Justin Sang has closed in maybe even a second or so. The car 177. So maybe that's a battle at some point. And Mark McDonald working here on John Sedlak. Now, in the points, John Sedlak, Mark McDonald, 8 points apart. Sedlak with the advantage, but if McDonald can get the spot, it certainly makes it more tangible, even more so tangible next week at Interlagos to potentially leapfrog John Sedlak and take that spot away. That would be good for at least 3rd in the standings if he can somehow get by Sedlak in the standings. If not 2nd with Reed Gibson, no showing tonight.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting battle right here. McDonald's definitely going to be looking towards that championship standing table. So he definitely wants to get past Sedlak, and obviously John Andrew, he definitely wants to hold it. You can see just how much Mark is pushing. You can see how loose he got on the exit of Oak Tree, just hitting that curb on the inside. But yeah, he needs to focus. 8 minutes and 40 to go. He has to pass the guy up in front if he wants to make up ground in the championship.
We'll head down to the roller coaster. And as we thought, JP, this is a strategy race. This is one of those more spread out races like we would have thought we would have seen with the amateur race even. Easily one of the best North American Racing League finishes of all time a little while ago, but we'll take a good old-fashioned strategy race. We don't mind this at all.
No, absolutely not. This is just as fun, but Luckily for us, it's not a strategy race for the whole field. You can see some other drivers are going to be taking opportunities just like this one as we head into the roller coaster. They're not going to go side by side. Is that Fabio Semperlini under pressure?
It is from Pierre Thompson.
So yeah, Pierre Thompson really challenging that Porsche up ahead. Looks like he clearly has the pace. So Fabio, he's going to have to do everything to hold off for this 16th position, Andrew. And he's currently, I just noticed, the last pro driver running. So he's in last place in his class.
Yeah, 16th overall. That only puts him 8th in class. But a few drivers looks like skipped the IR this weekend, and as we saw at Charlotte in both series, sometimes drivers will choose their drop weeks. Nathan Lewis, I think, did that. But here's Juan Blanat, 7 seconds almost, his race lead back to Andre Melchers. No looking back now, and so long as he did not underfuel this car by too much, he's absolutely looking like a race winner. And yet, nearly 18 seconds in the pit box itself, he's looking pretty good.
Yes, he is. I mean, it's such a good drive, Andrew. We have to take our hats off to him. I mean, qualified third, then, straight away pretty much took the lead and hasn't looked back. I mean, not a single mistake as far as I can tell. The gap, it only keeps on growing between him and Andre. I mean, it's him, it's the Audi, it's the track. Everything is just coming together. But, what a fantastic drive from Juan.
You know what I've just randomly considered, JP? This is a big throwback to the pit lane, pit stops. But I wonder if the pit stop times are so dramatically different between the amateur race and the pro race because of changing fuel cans. You would think these cars would be set up to have, a automatic fueling system, which is plug in and go, right? But I wonder if iRacing it has it set up more like a stock car, and it's fuel cans that you pour into the car, would be poured into the car. I really do wonder if that's what slows them down so much, and there's a change in fuel cans there. You'd have to pop into the car and fuel the car for that much and see if there's maybe an abrupt slowdown. I doubt it, but that's the only thing I can think of. It randomly went through my mind, so maybe we'll have to test that ahead of Interlagos next week and just verify that. But it's an idea at the very least as Mark McDonald continues to work on John Sedlak, and inside of 6 minutes to go, crunch time.
Yeah, this is the time where Mark needs really to get close and try to attack. 5 minutes and 30, Andrew. I don't think you can wait up until the final lap, especially on a place around VIR where you can easily make a mistake anywhere in the racing circuit. So he just needs to get a good exit on a corner like this. The Oak Tree trying to force John into some sort of mistake. It looks like that was not the case, but he's very close, so this could be his opportunity.
The gap here, a little over 2.5 tenths. As McDonald going to try and get a run here, he's closing in. I don't think it's going to happen this lap, but he's certainly going to poke the nose at the very least. Or at least get closer in the mirror. That's all he's got to do is pressure John into a mistake. And again, if Mark gets this spot, his vie up the standings, his run up the standings, it's a little bit easier. It's only a point or so, but any point's going to help. Especially going to a place like Brazil next week, any point is going to help.
Absolutely. Each and every single point is going to be crucial, so he definitely does not want to stick around just behind and wait until to see what happens in Interlagos. He definitely needs to start making the moves here at VIR, and you can see Satellite kind of checked up mid-corner, almost caught McDonald off guard.
Thankfully no contact, but they got very close, for a moment anyways, as they chased down Justin Sang, or at least try to put chase to car 188. And it looks like, JP, we're going to be talking to Juan Blanat, Andre Melchers, Scott Kimbrough, and Justin Sang. Those should be, if things work out as they are, the top two in each class. And even Marcos Nunez starting to fall back of Andre Melchers at this point. Seems like maybe that Audi's starting to fall off as the race goes on. Andre just starting to settle in, and Gustavo is falling way back of these guys.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, not only is Nunez really falling off, Gustavo looks like he had to cancel his charge, Andrew. He was only 2.5 seconds behind Nunez a few laps ago.
I think he was just silent into the roller coaster. Remember, he was aggressive on fuel.
Yeah. I think he's going to be running out of fuel. He's just trying to make sure his car is going to be able to nurse back to the start-finish line. He has a 13-second gap to his teammate. 3 minutes and 30? What are you seeing, 3-4 laps?
He's shifting early on the front stretch. He is in fuel save mode. Clutch. Wow, that is at the flag stand. He's really saving. I think Juan has pushed this race an extra lap.
Maybe. Gustavo really now, you can see just how aggressive he is, Andrew. It's going to be close. It's going to be very close. You can see clutching. Yeah, this is extreme fuel saving. He tried to gamble. It almost worked, but unfortunately for him, it's not going to be enough. You can see his teammate now closing in 12 seconds. That guy is just going to keep on coming down lap after lap, corner after corner. And Bruno doesn't have a big gap to Chris behind, only around a second and a half.
I wonder if Bruno's saving, if maybe Martin Crisp is saving at all. Crisp should be fine. He had a 19.2 second pit stop. He should be perfectly fine on fuel. Let's right on board with Bruno and see if he's saving. I didn't hear anything in the first sector, but maybe into South Bend, or maybe, especially into Oak Tree. Maybe we'll hear something. Oh, well, he lifted over the curb, but that was not good. No saving yet. I don't think he's saving much, if at all. And he had a longer pit stop as well, 17.6 seconds. He should be fine, but Gustavo...
And he can see his teammate.
Oh, yeah.
How much did I say the gap was?
He's clutched in. Wow.
He lost how much? He was losing a ton of time.
He's lost 7 seconds since we've been talking about him. 8 seconds.
Yeah. This...
So he might lose more points.
Yeah, I mean, if he has enough fuel in the last lap, then he's going to be safe. But if he doesn't, then big trouble for him.
We just might get a 29th lap. And in pace, in the amateur race, and clutching again. Wow. The flag stand. That's so insane. In the amateur race, they cut a lap out based on pace with the pit stop. In this race, I think Juan has been just fast enough to keep it to 29 laps as we first expected, as it first estimated for us, as opposed to dropping to 28. And I think that's where this issue is coming in. I think they were, at first they were budgeting on the race being 1 lap shorter because of the pit stop. Well, that's just not the case, as Polo Godai gets passed up here by Fabio Zamperlini. But, wow. Wow.
Wow, and I mean, this is fantastic. I mean, this is just so intriguing to see. Juan currently, I mean, he's comfortable 7.5 seconds.
There's no white flag yet. This will go at 29th lap.
Ooh, this is going to get so close. The gap now is only 5 seconds between Gustavo and Bruno.
Oh, it's closing. Down to 4.
I mean, he's just lifting. He's just not using any
fuel. The car was just
silent
silent into South Bend. That's just...
Yeah. He's trying not to use any fuel whatsoever. If he's able to finish this race, it's going to be a miracle. But I don't think he's going to be holding off for 4th place. It's just going to be 5th or 6th. And, wow.
At this point, I think just pitting and getting a splash would have been better.
And I think Bruno is actually trying to back Crisp as much as he can, because you can see how much Crisp has closed in. So Bruno, remember what he did in Charlotte? He just backed away to defend his teammate. He might just be doing the same or in places where Crisp might not be able to overtake, and especially like this.
I don't think there's any preventing this at this point. They're going to have to come to a Top Gear roadblock if he wants to keep anybody from passing Gustavo now. Through Hogpen. Marcos Nunez a problem. In the pit lane, he had to pit. Yeah,
that 29th lap injury mentioned. 29, right?
Yes, just on to lap 29. Now we do have the white flag presented by Whiplash Simcams. And we'll go down to turn 1. Gustavo is going to get...
Not even going to get that position.
Well, yeah, he's not going to catch Marcos. So Marcos pits for fuel, gets back out there ahead of Gustavo and everybody else. So yeah, absolutely, Gustavo would have been better off just pitting. Wow. And Scott Kimbrough is catching these guys.
Yeah, he's catching. I mean, the teammate, I mean, they're just backing off. And Andrew, I just realized the gamble that Gustavo did. He tried to underfuel the car to try and catch up. And maybe, obviously, he expected the race to just go on for 28 laps. But if he just elected to stay 1.5 seconds longer on the pit stops, this wouldn't have been a problem. And he would have finished in 4th place. So It's just those little gambles that racing drivers have to do. It's just going to be so close. Is he still fuel saving?
I would guess so. I mean, he's still losing time. He's pushing now more than he has been. So I think he was trying to save as much as he could so that he can push now if he has to. Meanwhile, Juan Blanat into roller coaster for the final time, and he's absolutely going to pick up this win, JP. 8.5 seconds back to Andre Melcher. He's actually already out of Hogpen And it's going to be a win for the Audi. Big, big W for Juan Blanat. Congratulations to Juan and Rincon Racing. Fantastic work as Andre Melchers goes second.
He should celebrate. What a fantastic drive. I don't remember the last time we've seen such a dominant drive, especially on this league of NARL. So a fantastic job by him. I think he's going to be able to do it, Andrew. He's just saving for the final straightaway. Unless his car starts coughing on fuel, he should be safe. His teammate definitely won't challenge him.
Wow.
And Gustavo, I mean, have you ever seen a BMW, a GT3 car hypermounting? Because that's what we just saw.
Incredible. Incredible. Bryce Rodriguez. Oh, here we go. Contact, I think, there. Rodriguez got loose over roller coaster. Blake Scott goes on by. John Sedlak, Mark McDonald, that close to the line. McDonald couldn't quite take it. Rodriguez loses the spot to Scott. Some more action there on the final lap, but impressive fuel saving there from Gustavo Ariel, but you have to wonder once again if it could have been avoided. That said, hey, it works out. He gets the same position, so really it's a moot point. And every car that finishes this race, JP, I don't think we've ever said this before, every car that finishes this race will finish on the lead lap. Oh, no. Mark Scott out of fuel.
Oh, no. And I don't think he's going to finish the race.
Oh, he's going to need to push. And I don't think he's going to get one. The only cars left on the racetrack are Fabio Zamperlini in the first sector, Pierre Thompson behind him, Brian Zinn, and Paulo Gadai, who's about to finish this race. And he puts the clutch in, will coast across the line. So a fuel strategy race here, forced by the pace of Juan Blanat stretching this race. You know what? Mark might make it. He just made it into roller coaster. Did he? Yeah, into roller coaster here. Is this hog pen already? He might be okay. The slowest race finish ever, but he might be okay.
I mean, if he finishes the race, I'm pretty sure he's going to be happy. Andrew, doesn't matter how fast he's going to cross the line. But unfortunately for him, it's an uphill. Is he going to have enough, as you like to call, oomph to finish the race?
36 miles an hour. I think he's going to do it. It's going to be close, though. This camera from the flag stand, actually, this will kind of really show it. He's just got to keep coasting. I think he's going to do it just barely.
Have you ever been excited for a car going 28 miles an hour on iRacing?
I have been now, as there he goes across the start-finish line. And that's it for Mark Scott. He does at least complete the race in 19th position and does keep it on the lead lap. Every car that finished tonight finishes on the lead lap. I don't think we've ever said that before in the North American Racing League. Let's go ahead and go through our results, and here's your top 10.
So Juan Blanat, I mean, dominant drive for him to finish in first place ahead of Andre Melchers. 8.1 seconds. I don't think we've ever seen that big of a gap. Marcos Nunez, after pitting on the final lap, is going to finish 28 seconds behind them to finish third place. Gustavo Ariel is going to finish in fourth after a good recovery drive. Bruno Ducarmo is going to finish in fifth place, holding off for his teammate. Martin Crisp is going to finish in sixth ahead of Scott Kibro, who won the Pro-Am class. Justin Seng is going to finish in eighth ahead of John Sedlak and Mark McDonald.
Finishing 11th, you'll find Mike Galbraith in car 122 from Radness. It's Blake Scott in the 12th position in car 167. Bryce Rodriguez, goes 13th position. Rodrigo Lapri in 14th. Fabio Zamperlini, 15th. Then a few guys that had some real trouble tonight. Pierre Thompson, Brian Zinn, Paulo Gadai in 18th position. Mark Scott in 19th. And Lucas Souza in the 20th position. We're going to come back to something on this page in just 1 second, JP. But here's the back two spots. Mitchell Ian Green, Aaron Folkerth. Now let's go ahead and bring this back up and look at this page here. Paulo Gadai, 18th position. Let's look at the points and kind of piece this together, right? So he's battling Scott Kimbrough by 48 points. That's not a concern. All right, Scott Kimbrough out of it. Mark McDonald out of it. So you can look to John Sedlak. Reed Gibson's too far back. You look to John Sedlak. John Sedlak finishes 9th. That's a 9-point difference, roughly. I think it might be a little bit different, but 9 position difference, about a 9-point difference, JP. That's going to put Sedlak around 24 points back. It's still a really tall order, especially depending on car counts, but it might just keep John Sedlak in the conversation. Just.
Absolutely, and that's all he needs sometime, Andrew. That just, you know, if there is a possible chance it could happen. Remember Fabio Zeppelini, how he won his championship? He was pretty much just in the championship fight and, well, ended up winning. So it's going to be interesting. I guess the worst thing for Scott right now is the finale is going to be in Interlagos. So it's really, I guess, it's going to help Paulo, but I mean, it could be his Achilles heel as well.
The 22 cars came and raced, and 19 of them finished, and the first of those finishers, Juan Blanat. Far and away, JP, here is our pro winner.
So Juan, I mean, qualified P3, ended up winning in a dominant fashion. I mean, everything clicked on for you, didn't it?
Hello.
Hello?
My English is a little, it's bad. Okay.
No worries.
Okay. Contact with Melchers and Gustavo make me a safe race. And I have to do a safe race and save a lot of fuel in the end. And no more than that, was easy because the contact of Gustavo and Andre.
And do you want to try Spanish? Do you think it's a little bit bad? My Spanish is pretty rusty.
Okay.
All right, so, all right. Durante la corrida,
Sí.
tú tevi un ritmo muy fuerte. ¿Usted estaba salvando combustible o estaba just apenas pushando el carro como si fuese una cualificación?
No, al principio de la carrera, antes de la parada, fui tirando todo y en las últimas vueltas tuve que ahorrar un poco de combustible, la verdad. Después traté de tener un ritmo conservador, rápido obviamente, pero conservador porque es un circuito muy fácil para salirse fuera de pista. Así que traté de ir siempre con mucho cuidado.
Muy bien. Y para semana que viene, para la próxima corrida,
Sí.
Interlagos, o que está achando? Terás uma boa distância do Gustavo no campeonato. Achas que está salvo? Achas que terá muita dificuldade? ¿Cómo tú se prepara?
Yo creo que va a seguir siendo complicado. Más que nada, bueno, Gustavo va a estar de local en Interlagos. Creería yo que va a andar muy bien ahí. Y nada, a seguir peleando el campeonato. Y no hay que relajarse, que todavía falta y está muy parejo.
Bueno, muy bien. Acredito que sea todo. Si tú quiser agradecer a alguien, es tu oportunidad. Yeah, go ahead.
Bueno, agradecer a mi equipo, a Rincon Racing, TM Custom Logos y Kakumu Simuladores, que son los sponsors. Y nada más, agradecer ahí a mi familia, que seguro está viendo, y nada más, por la próxima.
Muy bien, muy obrigado pelas palabras y espero hablar contigo semana que viene.
Esperemos que sí, que estemos acá. Muchas gracias.
All right. So, Andrew, my Spanish was a bit rusty, I guess, as you could tell, but I think I got a little bit of what Juan managed to say to me. I asked him about the strategy that he ran on the race, you know, if he was just pushing, he was saving, if he was safer or not. And he mentioned to me that before the pit lane, he was going for it. He was just trying to create a gap, as far as I could tell. And then after the pit lane, you know, after the pit stops, he realized the gap and he tried running a bit safer, especially on the final few laps, just to guarantee the result. He mentioned how easy it was to make a mistake around here. I mean, you can see the white lines and just grass on the outside, so just an inch of a mistake can really set you back. So he was just running a bit careful, trying to bring the result home. And then I asked him about next week in Interlagos, and he just mentioned that it'll be a difficult race for him, especially due to being the home race of Gustavo. He mentioned that Gustavo most likely come very, very strong and very prepared, so he's gonna be able, I mean, he wants to be able to match Gustavo's pace to make sure he gets in the championship, but he sounds confident, and that's sometimes all you need.
Absolutely, home race or not, anybody can go out there and win. It's not just locked into the Brazilians, right? Sure, they might have an advantage. They probably turn more laps there than everybody else. They bring that pride to Interlagos, but that certainly does not mean they've locked down victory next week in Brazil. Let's go on down the line to our Pro-Am category, though, beginning with winner Scott Kimbrough in car 177. And Scott, this is certainly one of the better races you've had in a while. Goes out there, putting it in P1 all night long. I don't think you left Pro-Am lead all night long. How'd things go from your point of view?
Howdy, guys. They went pretty well, I would think. I'm shocked, surprised, happy as can be. I'll take it all. And now I'm looking for a massage, spa, and a stiff drink. And maybe a couple Advil.
Well, hopefully you're not looking for spa too hard, because it's Brazil next week. How do you shape up there? You're out of the championship, sure, but you're going to have an opportunity to get some of these positions and at least vie for maybe a top 3 in the standings. How do you ensure that next week at Interlagos?
Nobody has to be worried about me. I'm horrible at that track. So this was my chance here, and I'm happy it worked out. But yeah, Interlagos is not my friend, so I'll just go have fun, and we'll see how it works out next week.
Well, then let's backtrack to VIR and your preparation for it. You come in here, it's a track that has certainly possibilities to be all kinds of different things. Could be hectic, as we saw at points in the amateur race. We had the fuel strategy that enough fuel strategy to last quite a while here in this race. Were you prepared for it? What did you prepare for? Coming into a place like this, it's always tough.
Yeah, we actually felt pretty prepared, thanks to all the Empire guys. I mean, you saw they performed really, really well in the Pro-Am. Happy for all those guys. I mean, in the Am race. And, it was because we spent a lot of time, testing, running together, because this track is, it doesn't look that hard, but it's pretty difficult, I think. It's a little deceiving.
Definitely a tough one here in Virginia. It's always difficult to get around this place. Difficult. I think that could be a word. Tough and difficult. Difficult. I like that one. But Scott, thanks for your time tonight. Congratulations on a Pro-Am win. We'll be talking to you potentially next week in Brazil. Don't close yourself out to a possibility of a podium. It can always happen.
That's right. That's why we race, right?
Absolutely.
I'll be there.
Absolutely. We'll be watching for car 177. A good run tonight. The Team Empire Audi will move on down the line, though, JP. Justin Sang goes second in Pro-Am competition in Pro-Am class, and here he is.
So, Justin, what a race you had. Second place. At one point, I think you were defending that position, but, ended up holding off all the pressure. Talk us through it.
Yeah, honestly, I was just trying to stay on the track, not to burn off the tires. If those guys had a run, I was just going to let them go. But fortunately, they ran off instead of me.
And, how difficult is the race? We saw a few drivers making mistakes. We even saw the championship contender making a mistake, but you seem to be all nailed down. What was the strategy, and how difficult was it?
Just trying to stay on the track. So I didn't practice too much, so I wasn't attacking each corners, and it was difficult. But since I wasn't really pushing, I left a lot of margin for the mistakes.
And what was the strategy about? You mentioned, if the faster guys were coming, you were just going to let them go. Is it just trying to bag some points for the championship?
I don't think I'm in the championship anymore. I'm kind of in the team championship. Since Reed is not here this week, I kind of need a good result to help the team. But mostly, I just want to enjoy a whole race. I haven't done too many of that this season.
And when we look towards next week in Interlagos, how are your expectations for the track? Are you a bit more familiar? Do you enjoy it?
I'm not that good there, but I know the track, but a lot of people are fast there. So I'm just the same strategy, just try to have a fun race.
Absolutely. If today was fun for you, I'm pretty sure finishing second place in your class is plenty fun. Tomorrow, I hope it's going to be more of the same for you, Justin. And, anything else you kind of take away from this race, finishing second?
It means I could kind of run with the guys of the Pro-Am. And if I don't make mistakes, and just maybe I could do better next time.
Well, absolutely. And well, hopefully next week it's going to be the best spot in the house. Hopefully it's going to be first place. Yeah, with that being said, I'm going to thank you for your time and wish you the best of luck for next week.
All right, thanks.
So, Andrew, that was just a thing. There you go. Kind of now the English seems to be slipping away, Andrew. A bit of Portuguese, a bit of Spanish. English seems to be going away, but yeah, hopefully we can see plenty more of him. I'm pretty sure this is the first time we talked to him during the season,
I don't know if it's the first, but it's certainly one of the first. In that first handful, by all means, maybe even the first 3 times we've talked to him, he's been really turning up the wick as of late, and that 188 car has been getting real good towards the end of this North American Racing League season. Another big thank you quickly is owed to RaceLab, Radness, Tam Livery, and JS Consulting. We haven't talked as much about them as of late, but RaceLab.app is a fantastic tool for any iRacer. It helps you to improve your driving skills with modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration. You can truly get the best out of iRacing. Start using it now for free at RaceLab.app. And similarly, Radness can help you get the most out of iRacing. Beautiful iRacing coaching from guys like Giuliano Romagnolo, who was in the Porsche Esports Canada race earlier today. I'm not sure how he did, but I know he was there, which is always good to see. Fantastic, especially in the Porsche Cup car. Fantastic coach, and fantastic coach in general to get you pointed in the right direction. Setups and overlays and whatnot. Sure, that's all nice and dandy, but you take that stuff away, you go into a fixed setup race with no overlays. What do you need? Racecraft, and Radness will give it to you. Tam Livery, well, if you want to look good on the racetrack for these broadcasts potentially, Tam Livery has got you covered, and if you want to get an iRacing League going the right way, like the North American Racing League has done, it's JS Consulting to help you with a lot of the back-end stuff, especially the website. That will do it here, JP, but we still got a few more things to talk about. First off, final thoughts from a fantastic, amazing, action-packed amateur race, and then a fuel-saving, action-packed, almost finish, at least, to the pro race.
Yeah, it was 2 different races, wasn't it? The pro race a bit not more composed, but more, I guess, strategized, I guess we can say. It was just more fuel-saving, drivers being careful, trying to line up moves. On the Prime race, the amateur race was just more action-packed, and I feel like that was technically a bad start for the night. Andrew, definitely got our hopes up, didn't it? That fantastic finish, but the pro race, was still just as good. We saw plenty of mistakes from big names, plenty of strategies, an exciting fuel finish, and obviously some fantastic drives. So a good second to final round, a great VIR round tonight, but yeah, just one race to go, Andrew. Interlagos, what are your expectations?
I don't know how you can draw up expectations for Interlagos next week, but it's going to be a lot of fun, certainly. First and only race in May. We're leading up to Cash Days at Watkins Glen that we'll have a lot more about next week. We'll explain a lot more of what's going on there. We've got a lot to talk about next week as well. The championship, Cash Days at Watkins Glen, a whole lot to cover next week, but I just want good racing. I want a bit of the fuel strategy mixed in. We've had it all season. It's not going to go away, so that want will certainly be guaranteed, but I also want side-by-side racing. I want more racing for this championship than game playing, and I know that sounds a bit negative, but at the end of the day, it really isn't. Racing is racing, and if you have to go through these strategic battles, that's still racing. You've got to make sure you get to the start-finish line first at the end of the race. Well, I guess the finish line first at the end of the race, and that's what it comes down to. Even with fuel saving and whatnot, it still comes down to making sure you finish first, and we'll have good action regardless next week at Interlagos. As we get ready for Brazil next week, let's go ahead and check out our upcoming broadcasts on the list, JP. Well, earlier on, we had VIR, then Dover, then Watkins Glen. Now we lead off with Dover Motor Speedway because that is next up for the MPI Cup Series, 9 Eastern on Sunday. That should be loads of fun. The new NASCAR Gen 7 car there, I don't know how it's going to handle it, the Monster Mile. A mile of concrete, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a very rough race, I think, for these guys, getting used to this new car and everything, and certainly a lot of strategy to be watched out for there as well for the Monster Mile 200. Then on Tuesday, we've got Watkins Glen for BSR MX-5s. That's BSR Trophy Tuesdays at 8 p.m. UK time, 3 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday afternoon. And Wednesday, look at that, it's the Rockingham Speedway for the Outlaws Sim Series. Emerson Arden, well, he didn't chime in with the knocking on wood a little while ago, he'll be chiming in with running that show for the Outlaws Sim Series at 7:30 Eastern on Wednesday from Rockingham Speedway. Should be a lot of fun this upcoming week. Of course, we have BSRTC action also at Watkins Glen later on, and then, well, we've wrapped back right around here with Interlagos for North American Racing League GT3 Championship action. And JP, there's plenty of places, as always, to follow along with PitStopTV.
Oh, absolutely. Plenty of places to follow live, plenty of places to just follow, on news and updates about the championships and all that sort of stuff on facebook.com/PitStopTV, twitter.com/PitStopTV_, instagram.com/Pit_Stop_TV, and youtube.com/PitStopTV1.
As we wrap up here from Virginia International Raceway, a big thank you is in order to Scott Reister and everybody else here at the North American Racing League for making this one happen. This was a really cool one, and I think VIR definitely needs to be, maybe not a mainstay every season on the schedule, although I would be happy, maybe at least in the rotation for every other season. This was fantastic. I potentially second to none, just such a good racetrack. Well, maybe not second to none, but second to one or two maybe, all season long. Fantastic racing. And it's a good driver's track. I love the Roval. I love that it's so close quarters. I love that it gives us a little bit of chaos, a little bit of good racing, and everything in between. But this was just a really good driver's track to come and visit for round number 7, and sets up for a fantastic finale next week.
Absolutely. I mean, next week, it's just promising, isn't it, Andrew? It's going to be a fantastic race. The best racetrack on iRacing. We all know it. It's just going to be... There you go. I was just waiting. I was like, cannot wait. It's going to be fun. Obviously, my home track. It's going to be a blast seeing cars race around there. It's a track that promotes very good racing, plenty of overtaking opportunities. And we're going to crown 3 champions next week. It's going to be a whole lot of fun.
So as we get ready to leave Alton, Virginia, at least the virtual version of it, a big thank you to our crew as well here at PitStopTV. JP Cost and Emerson Arden joining me on coverage this evening. And, of course, a big thank you as well to everybody else here at PitStopTV, guys like Caleb Gladney, Devin Zimmerman, Zach Lindgren even, Ed Scher, and so many other great people that put so much effort in here at PitStopTV. None of it goes without notice. All of it is appreciated. This has been a fun one, but unfortunately we do have to sign off eventually, and this is it. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, for everybody on call this evening, myself, Andrew Cardinale IV, JP Costa alongside me, Emerson Arden on social media coverage. Thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching PitStopTV. Thanks for supporting us. And we will see you next time, hopefully Sunday, for the MPI Cup Series at Dover.